Hello, sumo fans.
We are back.
March is in the books.
There's just, I'm almost speechless, but then I'm not.
Yeah, we're recording a little bit later, and normally I'm a little antsy about that because I'm afraid I'll forget things. But this time around, it was very emotional.
Yeah, I don't think you'll forget the events of this tournament.
Well, also, it gave me a couple days. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Take a step back. Let's look at everything.
Could you imagine if we recorded on Sunday night? We'd just be like, I'm sad.
I would be, ugh.
It was a bad day.
Through my tears.
Like, and we're putting on a show. We're professional. Get the tissues.
So, congratulations to Onosato.
Yes, much congratulations.
Well earned. Apparently he pissed off somebody in the media department though because they have a flag in front of them.
What? Like, we praise these guys continuously, and then the last two have not been so great.
I'm wondering if they ran out of time and they couldn't.
That's so weird, though.
It is like
that looks like a mistake.
I'm like, why is there a flag there? Is there some weird thing with the image that they had to cover it up?
I think what it is he has to earn Yokozuna to get the flag removed.
I don't know.
So, this is like a warning to him.
It's a weird. Like, put the flag on the left. Like, I don't.
And no one's, Jurio's not pulling up right, so maybe this is just another weird thing.
I'm just a world of confusion over this picture. But congratulations, Onosato, just the same.
Yes.
He doesn't have a weird face like Hoshoryu did in January. So
true. So like if you just kind of like cover the flag with your hand, it looks like a good picture.
It's fine. It's good. We got the action rice or salt throwing. Anyway. There is a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
Without further ado, let us start at the top, as we always do, with the Yokozuna, Hoshoryu. A very aesthetically pleasing, if not slightly disappointing, 5, 5, and 5. So we came into this saying it's going to be rocky to start. Hoshoryu has always been rocky to start. And this is going to be no exception. Now, he also had an injury, which is unfortunate. And I'm guessing what happened is when he lost to Ichi Yamamoto, he's just like, I am not doing Yokozuna level sumo in my current state. I'm going to leave before I disgrace the rank.
Yeah, you don't really get a say once you're Yokozuna, to be honest. Like, if you start giving away Kimboshis like that, someone's going to talk to you. So Hoshoryu there was a lot of chatter about Hoshoryu saying he's not going to pull out. He probably should have never made that statement because you don't get to make that choice once you're Yokozuna. So, bad on him for that statement.
From a sumo perspective, because he was in there for 9 days, Hoshoryu's signature style was there.
Yeah.
So something I was afraid of is that he would sort of regress in the ring. And he did not. He was dynamic. He was always aggressive. He was always doing something.
There were, in his brief moment there were a couple moments where he looked like the Yokozuna. But that was after the day one disaster with Abi, which, I think you got to look at that very carefully. I don't think Abi blasted him out. I think Hoshoryu was super tentative because it's the first time he's clashing with that elbow in the tournament. So, other than that, he looked good for the next 3 days, and then things started to fall apart, which was very unfortunate.
So let's just let this happen. We'll go into May. He's settled in. He's got his belt. He's got his ring entering ceremony.
Right. The first is over.
Yes.
So all the jitters should hopefully be gone.
This is sort of on one hand, there's a lot of people who are like, cut him some slack. This is the first one. He got injured. Don't worry about it. Now the other side of the coin is that, he has to settle in.
Right.
This is the expectation. And so I think he'll be fine in May.
He should be.
And clean up the injuries. Just
take his time.
Take your time. He does seem to be taking the rank with severity. Like it's not it's not like he's saying, I'm gonna put my feet up. Like he's
like, I don't feel like competing anymore. I don't think that was it.
He's handling himself like a Yokozuna, but he's also somebody who's also been handed the position of only Yokozuna.
Yep.
Has Terunofuji the Great to fill his shoes.
Mm-hmm. In a time where everybody's quite testy.
Yeah. And so there's a lot on him. Hoshoryu has always absorbed and then evolved.
Yes. And like you said, he's been known to be a slow starter. So this is a brand new situation. Here comes the slow start. Yes. Not all wrestlers are the same, my friends. Which brings me to, I must rant. You guys love the rants. So for the 42 Opinion subscribers who know me, this is fun for you. For someone who might be casually coming by, or you might be like, huh? What's going on? So,
are there going to be timestamps on the video?
Yes.
If you don't like rants, just click right over the Onosato. If you do like rants, I have good news for you.
You're about to get a rant. So let me first say, as a Takayasu fan, I thought I had already seen and heard all that I was ever going to have to deal with. I was so sad when he retired. But then I thought, but at least I won't have to get into arguments on the internet anymore. But then I chose Hoshoryu as my new favorite. And now I once again find myself in pretty much the same situation, which is half of the fans, I don't know if they're just Onosato fans or if they just really don't like Hoshoryu. Maybe it's a combination of both. Are starting to throw out the not worthy comments, and he was promoted too quickly, and this is the worst Yokozuna debut in history, and all this like hyperbolic noise, for lack of a better term. And I'm trying to clean this up a bit because it does enrage me, because it's the first tournament. Can we take a breath before we rip somebody to shreds? Can we take a breath and just, like, stop with the team thing for a minute? Because overall, as sumo fans, we should hope for Hoshoryu's success. Now, I can understand if this was the third tournament, the fourth tournament. Okay, the rumbling start. The rumbling start the second he lost to Abi. The rumbling started as soon as he dropped out. And then they get more and more intense. And then you see this crazy fighting where it's like, be quiet, Hoshoryu fanboy. No. Take a chill pill, keyboard warriors. Okay? And I'm cleaning this up from what I was thinking earlier. Okay? As a sumo fan, you should root for the Yokozuna to do well. In the rank, okay? This isn't Ozeki. If he doesn't do well, he has to retire. This is as close to like putting your life on the line as anything. And everybody's out here running their mouths and saying nonsense. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He doesn't need you to remind him that if he doesn't win, he loses his career. And he's only 20, he's not even 26 yet. He will be 26. Okay? Second of all, you can like Onosato. Hoshoryu is not keeping Onosato from being Yokozuna, so what does it matter? How many comments did I read? Onosato should be Yokozuna instead of Hoshoryu. What do you mean instead of? He can just join the rank. What is the competition about? Seriously. And, once again, if Onosato pulls it off in the next tournament, which I'm not convinced of, I think people are getting a little excited about a 12-3. Okay, calm down. If he does ascend to Yokozuna, great. It doesn't matter that Hoshoryu's there. If Onosato is better, let him prove it in the ring. Records-wise, Hoshoryu's gotten him 5-2. So, calm down. It's one tournament, and enjoy the sumo. Take a deep breath. Walk on the beach. Drink a glass of water, and chill out. Because I'm trying to enjoy sumo. And I wish people could just enjoy sumo too. Okay, rant over.
Okay. So I have two thoughts on this myself. I, for the most part, agree with Maria that people need to chill out. and dogpiling a guy within the first week of his first Yokozuna tournament does not seem intuitive. Point one, it seems that a lot of people were more upset about him being promoted than about him. So they sort of had it out for him because they didn't think he earned it. So what was interesting is hearing about from Chris Sumo and other internet sources about how the other governing bodies and the Yokozuna Deliberation Council and the Sumo Association and like his Oyakata, all these people are they're forming a shield wall because they're actually mad at the administration for what people perceive as a premature Yokozuna promotion. Now, premature or not, that's its own side discussion. Boys got the rope. I don't know what we're still talking about.
Yeah, let me just say with you, John, why don't we put the past in the past? He has it. Can we move forward?
So, optimistically, as somebody who's also a Hoshoryu fan, it's good to know that people aren't saying, like certain other Ozekis who came close to it before, about how not air quotes, I'm doing air quotes with my fingers, just pretend you can see me doing this, not deserving, one-dimensional. None of that. People are more saying Hoshoryu needed more time rather than Hoshoryu couldn't.
Fair.
So I am taking optimism from this. Again, agreeing that people still need to chill the hell out and relax. And quite honestly, for the haters, if you think he's not going to make it, he's gonna fall on his face and die if he can't make it. Like you said,
it's done.
You're done. If he can't hack it as a Yokozuna, he's out of here by the end of the year.
Right. He doesn't get demoted and try again. He's done.
Perhaps something to look forward to if you have hate in your heart.
Yeah. Why don't you root for that? Instead of root for Hoshoryu to retire. Actually, we do have one subscriber, and I love you with all my heart, who is actually saying that. And I can at least chuckle when he says that. He might mean it. But at least that's a little bit more original than some other things I've heard. So. Yeah.
Also with the disclaimer, again, and it's on the name of the show, these are sumo opinions.
Yes, and basically, I read comment sections. You're allowed to say what you think, and we're allowed to say what we think. But you don't have to agree. In fact, comment away. It only helps us in the algorithm. I don't care if you want to, say I'm super wrong. Cool. But, please leave a comment because we need it.
My second take, and this is me looking in towards the future. So maybe 12 to 18 months from now, I am waiting for the haters to turn on other people.
Oh, it'll happen.
And talk about how they aren't more like Hoshoryu. Think about it. So we are going to have Sekiwaki Hiradoumi. We're going to have Sekiwaki Terunofuji, Aonishiki, who can't make the jump to Ozeki, who can't make the jump to Yokozuna.
Right.
And what are people going to say? Why can't you guys be like Hoshoryu? He made it within 2 years. Why can't you be like Onosato? He broke the record. Let's go. What's wrong with you guys? It's can't do sumo anymore. I'm waiting for that.
That's
my optimism. That is my hope for the future.
Some people enjoy things by enjoying it, and some people enjoy things by hating on it.
Yes. And
nothing changes that.
To each their own.
Yeah, fine if you want to.
The sea of humanity is diverse.
Yeah.
But
you could even hate this show if you want.
I know that people do.
Yeah, I read the comments. I know.
Yeah. God bless. I love all of you. Thank you for your time. But again, as a Hoshoryu fan, what I am personally hoping for is to see those guns turn.
Yeah.
Turn in a different direction. Because you can't tell the guns to stop firing.
No, you can't. My dream, but I am not as presumptuous as some people. I will tell you right now, I will not say who is going to make it next. I think sumo is incredibly difficult to predict.
Particularly these days.
Yeah. But in my heart, this is what I want to say. Hoshoryu, get him. Get him and just take care of it, please. I've been through so many years of what happened to Takayasu. You better stay healthy, and you better just prove it, because I want a year from now, and no one even remembers this. Please. Thank you.
So it will also, people will still be comparing Hoshoryu to the others, but if/when we get a Japanese Yokozuna,
which is Onosato
or Kotozakura,
maybe.
Strong maybe on that, I'll agree. There is definitely a love for the home team.
What will be funny is if you get Onosato and Kotozakura, and then Hoshoryu is either going to have hate intensified or hate dulling, because now he'll be outnumbered by Japanese Yokozuna, whereas it's been the Mongolian dominance forever. So
I feel like this is also a thread going through this.
True.
So then imagine Onosato, I'll say by the end of the year, because like you, May is probably a little bit more enigmatic than we would like to believe. We would get Onosato or Kotozakura, or maybe in a year's time, some of the new rising stars.
Right. Aonishiki, I feel like
Aonishiki,
kind of keep an eye on him.
Yes. So for homegrown, that would be Oho, that would be Takeru Fuji. Takeru Fuji needs to cut his teeth a bit, but more on that later. You get one of those people, and then it'll be... They did this stuff to Asanayama.
They turned on him so quick.
Oh, dude.
How vile was that? Like, he was the golden child of Japan. Now he's the dirt on everyone's shoes.
They were talking about him like he was a Yokozuna when he was barely Ozeki. I felt horrible for him. I still feel bad for him.
I know. Well, see, that's what's funny is... Well, we don't really dislike anybody. We sort of root for everyone as fans of the sport. But our empathy increases when people dogpile. So,
but in any case, these are all... This is all speculation.
We got the rants out until we get to Takayasu.
We're doing the one thing that you should never do in this sport and try to predict the future and how things are going to happen.
Right. Like, our whole show is nonsense if you think about it.
I like our show being nonsense.
That's our brand. Our brand of sumo.
We're in front of it. It is also a brand of sumo.
That's right.
So, in any case, Hoshoryu, we'll see you in May. I feel if there's anybody if you want to see the person who's the most disappointed with how Hoshoryu did, it's Hoshoryu.
Yeah. And don't forget he has uncle in his ear. Why'd you jump out? You should have taken a cortisone shot. And then I even heard people on the internet saying, because Hoshoryu is going to join the tour after the tournament, that he wasn't really injured. He just faked it because he was losing. And that's something Asashoryu did before. He's not Asashoryu, guys. He's Hoshoryu.
Yeah. Isn't he joining the tour like on the second half? And
yes.
Also like he's doing what...
He's just doing the ceremonies for the first half.
Also, he's doing what Terunofuji did, and that he's just showing up. And he's holding babies.
And if you want to talk about lowering the standards, they already did that when they let Kisanosato sit out for an entire year.
7 tournaments.
And then Hakuho was like, if you're going to let him do it, let me do it. And then Kakudu was like, well, let me join the party. So if you're upset about lowering the standards, go back a couple years. Okay? All of those guys should have been forced to retire, and they didn't. So this lowering of standards has been going on for a while, and good on Hoshoryu for doing what he needed to do. Should he give it back because the people on the internet don't like it? Don't think so. Go Hoshoryu.
See you in May.
See you in May. You better be there.
If day one's against Abi, I know somebody in the fixtures hates him. Don't give him Abi on day one.
There's plenty of people on this roster who really don't want to see Abi.
Not on day one.
No. It's like, I'm trying to get into my tournament.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Onosato, Yusho winner, playoff winner, 12-3, and quite frankly, a relief.
Yeah, because this tournament was looking a little... I mean, the interesting thing is Onosato really was in it the whole time with a couple of losses that... Like, that Takayasu loss was almost tanked this whole thing for him, that first loss. But with Hoshoryu out and Kotozakura's knee just not good, it's good to see that the Ozeki was able to do what he needed to do. This is what you want the Ozeki to do. If the Yokozuna's out, Ozeki should win it. And we haven't had that in years. Onosato is like one of our most consistent Ozeki. Consistent Ozeki numbers.
From results-wise, yes.
Yeah, like double digits.
But in May, was when he was more consistent from a performance perspective. So he had the awkwardness of becoming Ozeki that seemed to linger, but the way he won in March was a lot more like the sumo that got him to Ozeki.
Right.
It was forward driving. It was dominant. He was stuffing and reversing.
He was able to adjust.
Yes. So he Wakataka Kage, so it was day one. He did that weird like hockey check win to get him out. So that's Onosato's weird, flaily, crazy sixth sense getting him the win, which is like a win's a win,
Right.
but not what we were hoping to see for somebody who's going to be ascending.
Well, particularly because there's no consistency in it. Like, those moves are great, but you won't always win with those moves, so you kind of want a guy who's going to be Yokozuna to be able to win with the moves he's doing.
Correct.
You know, he had the whole foot on the edge, ballet pirouette. Who's that against? Who was that?
He did some of there was some weirdness. There was some it was like also like he did that little hoppy jump.
Yeah.
Might have been Daisho. No, Daisho he wrecked back. Maybe it was Takeru Fuji.
Takeru Fuji, that's right.
That was something.
Because he pushed him all the way back, and then I feel like he planned that. He went to plan B of like, okay, if I get pushed back, I'm going to be prepared to do something on the edge, which is smart. But it's risky. It's less consistent.
I had written this as a note for Takeru Fuji because Takeru Fuji won the Tachiai but lost the match.
Yep.
And that says as much
everything about him.
It says a lot about Takeru Fuji and where he is and where he needs to be. For Onosato, it's one, proof that he's not the most powerful guy.
Right.
But
he could be
two,
pushed back.
He can still win in that situation. Important win for him is against Abi, who has had his number. And he withstood Abi. That's also a huge win and a loss for Abi as well. Right. And then this is a guy who was also in the final few days visibly nervous. Couldn't had a lot of nerves. Loses to Oho. Oho decided he just didn't want it that day.
I knew that was going to happen. That's sort of Oho's thing. Like, oh, I'm having a rough tournament. Let me really show up against this guy who needs to win.
Yep.
Because then I'll get all the accolades for that.
So, for him to go into a playoff against a guy who beat him, against his senior in Takayasu, against somebody who probably knows him better than he knows himself from a sumo perspective.
And pretty much everyone was rooting for Takayasu.
Yes. So this is a worst case scenario for Onosato if he needs to dig deep.
Yeah.
But he dug.
He dug deep.
He dug.
And he did what he had to do.
He dug. You could say, you can talk about how Takayasu abandoned his field of sumo until the cows come home, but Onosato got it done.
Right. And he was just as nervous, so he could have made a mistake.
So this is a strong return to the sumo that got him here, and 12-3 is what it is.
Yeah,
cup in hand.
Like, can we really worry about records anymore? I get it. I really get it. Okay, there was a time where Hakuho came in and he just destroyed everybody, and Asashori was that way too. We're not in that era anymore. Eras change. Wrestlers are different. This is what we have. Okay, and we could compare, but honestly, not all of Hakuho's competition was as strong as some of the guys that are here. Like, there is a very almost like group power in this group of people, and that's part of why they flip-flop a lot.
This is going to be a recurring theme when we get into the Sanyaku, is how close in skill level a lot of people are.
Yeah. So in a way, the issue is that there isn't somebody who just is so much better than everybody else. Now, like I said, that was Hakuho in his generation. The question is, did he have the same level of, were there some easier opponents and some harder opponents? Were there bigger gaps in between talent in the Maegashira ranks? Hard to say. We'd have to do a real big deep dive on that. It's kind of an interesting topic that I'd like to look into at some point. But the one thing I wanted to say about Onosato is this. He's doing phenomenal, if you think about it. This is only his 13th tournament. If he gets Yokozuna next tournament, it's going to be a record. He's only been in sumo like 2 years or something like that.
Let's look at him. Seymour.
Finally, he has a Seymour. I mean,
2023 of May.
Okay.
Not even 2 years.
Not even 2 years in sumo. I will say this about him. Temper your expectations on Onosato, because I feel like this is a guy people are going to turn on pretty quickly. He does have he's this good with such little experience compared to everyone else. He still has big gaps in his game. He really does. He's a big, smart wrestler, but like the match he lost to Oho, the match he lost to Takayasu the first time, there's some gaps. He's going to overcome them. He just needs a little time, but this dude is literally having his hiccups as an Ozeki, possibly as a Yokozuna. So just, once again, be patient because he is zooming up the ranks so fast. He's barely had time to, fix every little thing that he has to fix. So, just temper expectations. Don't turn on him next. Unless you already don't like him, and that's a different topic. Because I know there's people who don't like him. Same comments that they said about Takayasu. He's one-dimensional. Okay? Is it okay to just be really good at one thing? That is the Japanese way, by the way. That is a cultural thing. They work and work and work to be a proficient at one thing. The reason that Hoshoryu has such a variety, which I enjoy, but I am coming from being a Takayasu fan, is that he has a judo background. So he likes to throw. Onosato is a sumo. So what if he's one-dimensional if he wins?
Look, if you can win by hitting people with a truck.
Right?
Why do we care about not hitting people with a truck?
Should he do something? Should he trip him? I mean, what?
Other people are shipping.
Yes. It's funny, the tripping. Actually, didn't he do a kirikaeshi against somebody now that I said that? He did something where he kicked the leg and sent somebody off balance, but it wasn't officially a trip. So, who knows? He might be adding trips into the repertoire. Good. But anyway, I'm off that rant too. That's a shorter one. Short.
Congratulations, Onosato. Lots of expectations going into May.
Hopefully it works out.
All right. So, more good news. Kotozakura has cleared Katoban. We were not sure he was going to do it.
Sweating.
That 8 and 7 is blood, sweat, and tears. Let me tell you. I had a... Yeah, and also to win 6, 7, and 8 against Oho, Daisho, and Takeru Fuji
with a busted leg,
with a busted knee.
That Takeru Fuji win, beautiful, and that's the one that got him.
That was it.
That was the win. That was a beautiful, beautiful show of spirit by Kotozakura. I almost got teary-eyed.
All three of those guys are people that went right in his face. They gave it to him with overwhelming power. Kotozakura found a way through it. And in general, there was a realization that he had to go forward. He couldn't.
If they pushed him back, he couldn't handle it.
And if he couldn't build the power, which sometimes you can't build the power with one leg, then things would stall out. That's typically how he would lose. But more often than not, he is going forward. He is aggressive. He understood he had to change his game plan in order to get it done, and he did.
Well, it was funny because it was a situation where everybody knew what they had to do to beat Kotozakura, including Kotozakura knew. So it was like, who's going to get the jump? How is this going to work out,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, also Gonoyama and Wakataka Kage.
Right.
He faced the killer's gauntlet of people who are known for explosive power on the Tachiai, and he handled it.
This was a very impressive 8 and 7 considering what he was dealing with. Between this was his first time Katoban, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So first time Katoban, knee is very uncertain. All the guys that are coming at him are aggressive on the Tachiai, like real hard hitters. And he gutted it out. And there was just a few moments, especially in the Takeru Fuji match, where I saw the real fiery spirit from him. And it, like I said, I got a little teary-eyed. I'm like, wow, that's like looking at a work of art. That's beautiful.
He knew what he had to do.
And he did it.
It was a path of adversity and pain, and he's just like, I got to do this.
It's got to be hard for him. Hoshoryu gets to Yokozuna. Onosato's now on a run. He was the first one on the run.
Yep. So there's the larger issues. First off, that he got 2 8-7s in 6 months. That he has this knee that was supposed to be better, and apparently it's not. And there was, past tense, concern about how he gets stuck in the Asanayama issue.
Yeah.
And so 8-7 on paper, but we're seeing a guy who realizes what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Like we said. So it's that grit, it's that honor.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming from a sumo family where he's a little kid and it's just getting drilled into him like, how'd the practice go? How did this go? You need to be like this. And now he finally reaches the elite rank of Ozeki and he's going for Yokozuna. And he had such a hard crash out and then he goes into Kadoban. I really do hope he can overcome this pressure because before Onosato came into the scene, I actually thought Kotozakura would have been the first Yokozuna. And I still think the potential is there if the healing happens.
Well, bring the clock back 4 months into November. And they were talking, because Kotozakura got the Yusho, and then they go to Hoshoryu and they're like, your Yusho equivalent, so both of you have the chance in January. And when we were talking about it, we're like, well, Kotozakura is the shoe-in on this. Mm-hmm. But Hoshoryu is the outside chance. Like, don't rule him out. That was the mindset 4 months ago.
Yep.
Fast forward the clock. Now we're talking about Yokozuna Hoshoryu, potential Yokozuna Onosato, who was floundering, and Kotozakura is hanging in there.
Yeah, Onosato was like almost invisible in November, right?
Because he lost. That was
his 9-6.
His earlier matches were like, you had these spots of losses, and also in January he lost early on.
Yeah.
So he was sort of just pulled out of the limelight.
There was an interview where he was talking about just the pressure of Ozeki kind of got to him for a second, and then he overcame it. Like I said, he's going through it as somebody who's barely been in sumo, and now he's Ozeki. He
has never had a losing record. Onosato's trying to figure it out, and now Kotozakura, we feel like he has on some level figured out the burden of the rank.
Oh, he's feeling the burden right now.
So
I do not want to see him drop out of Ozeki and lose all this momentum.
Yeah. So, but the good news is Kadoban cleared. Come what may next tournament, he's fine.
Let's hope. Yes.
Well, anything can happen in May.
It's true.
Minus things I don't even want to speak.
Yeah.
But like in terms of records, 7-8, 5-10.
We start all over again.
Who cares? Your Kadoban's cleared.
Yeah.
Just go out in May and focus only on perfection. And you don't have to worry about, what if. It doesn't matter.
And don't compare yourself to other people because that's useless. Just do your thing.
Yeah, they'll all be Yokozuna. Just let them
right,
go.
let's just have the three of them. Yeah. I mean, that's my picture, is that at some point it will be all three of them, and we always kind of thought that would be the case. So Hoshoryu got there first, but, they've all fought each other equally. Like, when we're talking about against each other, it's been pretty standard rival stuff. So, anyway.
So, congratulations, Kotozakura. You remain Ozeki. So, all that. Now we're going to talk about... now we're getting into Sanyaku.
Talk about somebody who's just...
So, Daieisho, God bless. I don't think I'll be going to be able to stop smiling talking about Daieisho this whole time. 9-6.
What a spectacular wrestler this guy is.
The bastion of Seki. Like, we always have these guys. Like, it was Mitakayumi. It was Takanosho. Those guys who are just holding the line. Doesn't matter what's going on. What kind of chaos.
They show up.
They show up. They look good. There's a NHK Sumo Salon all about the rank of Sekiwake and about this expectation that you are the middle guy in the tug of war, and that you're just pulling.
Right.
You're not the anchor. You're not the guy in the front. You're just holding that rope and you're pulling all you can.
And no one can see how much you're pulling versus the guy behind you.
You can't. You're just in the sea of bodies. So what's interesting about Daisho is that he's getting up there in years, as it were, but his gameplay is evolving.
Yeah, which I didn't know he was capable of.
These are good signs. So he still has the power Tachiai. Wakatakakage famously knocked off his feet.
Wow, that was something else.
Slip. Now, there was also a lot of talk about the wet, slippery dohyo. It's an X factor, sure, but
it just looked really good.
Dude, he cracked a guy and those feet went up. I'm like, nice.
You look at it almost like that doesn't usually happen.
So what was happening with Daisho is more people were able to be stronger than him, but he was showing them that he's still better at Oshi Sumo because he knows the angles, he knows the leverage. So there's a lot of converting momentum. There's a lot of parries. There's a lot of exploiting holes in the game. This kind of like sumo mastery, which is where he got the lion's share of his wins.
I feel like he must be a real workhorse when it comes to training, because to see him just sort of refine his technique, because we've been watching him for years. Remember when he was outside of Sanyaku and it just didn't seem like
he was the typical dark horse. We're like, oh, he's never gonna get it.
Like a Meisei.
He was.
And now here he is. Like, when Daisho comes into a match, you're like, oh, this is going to be a match. When you see Daisho face somebody who's in the Yusho running, you're worried for that guy. Even if it's a Yokozuna, even if it's an Ozeki. He's just, like, almost there, but not quite. But he's just so good that you're going to get a great match. You're going to, like, he's the guy you send off the bench, like, take care of this, will you?
Yeah.
This is getting a little ridiculous. Go take care of that guy for me.
He's your reliable body.
Yeah.
To throw in there. So he's at 20 wins. So mathematically, if he gets 13 or maybe 12 with something that looks fancy, they could make him Ozeki. The problem is these last 4 days. Mm-hmm. Loses to both Ozeki, and then on the final day, he has that lapse against Chiranoumi. Taking nothing away from Chiranoumi, who had a beautiful tournament.
It's still considered a lapse.
But, so you lose to both Ozeki. If you want to be an Ozeki, it'd be nice if you could beat one of them, but whatever. They're a rank above you. To lose to Chiranoumi, that's a win that's 10-5. Mm-hmm. That is a huge difference.
And we've seen when they don't believe in someone, they will make you start again.
Yeah. So Daisho will need to, if we're talking about him becoming Ozeki, put up probably one of the best performances of his career in that.
Right, and he's getting older and older.
Yeah. And for somebody who's known for their consistency, who's known for their reliable presence, that's not the guy who goes absolutely nuts. Also, we're not in January, which is when he does go nuts.
Right. Timing is everything.
Timing is everything. if this was November going into January, I'll be like,
he's gonna do it.
I would say, like, there's a chance of it.
Could you imagine though? Like, Daisho has the best tournament of his life, wins the Yusho.
Love that.
And then Onosato gets a 9-6, and it's like, okay, Yokozuna run restart, new Ozeki.
I'm fine with that. I am so fine with that.
I know. I would love to see Daisho
just touch it.
Yeah.
Just touch it.
It's not like Yokozuna. Like, you can be Ozeki and drop out, but you'll always have been Ozeki.
Yeah. Touch it, and then he'll do the Goeido half Karoban thing for a little while.
You know what's funny is I watched a couple of old Goeido matches, and I'm like, he actually was way better than his record reflected.
He was real good.
He was, yeah, like he was.
Just, also, when we came in, 2017, 2018, that's when he was on the tail end.
Right. We didn't get to see like prime Goeido that reached Ozeki.
Yeah.
But he was a good fighter.
Yeah. I'm ragging on him a little bit.
I wasn't even saying that to like comment on you. I just remembered that I caught a Goeido match and I was just like, he's way better than I remember, because I just remember the Kadoban carousel.
Yeah. Well, it would be the same thing as if somebody started watching sumo like this year or last year and they see Terunofuji.
Or started in September and saw Takayasu.
Yes. So it's like you said before, timing is everything.
Yep.
So you're getting people coming in, getting people going out, and for Daisho, I can tell you one thing: he's going to be right there, right there.
That's right. Just save the spot.
Just don't even call it Sekiwaki One East. Just call it Daisho One East.
Exactly. Oh, did you? Oh, wow. He's getting a promotion to Daisho One East.
Daisho One East.
I'm all about it.
Well done. So next, Oho, 6 and 9, but I'm not mad because this is the Sanyaku curse, and it's finally proof that it's real again.
I know, because a couple guys defied it.
We've had a string of people who were like, "What's Sanyaku curse?" And we're like, "No, guys, really, it's a thing.
It exists. We did not make that up."
And honestly, like, it couldn't happen to somebody who I would be less worried about.
You know, I have to say, though, I am not picking people anymore for the U show. I picked him to win the U show, and he just has a complete, like, breakdown in the first week. I'm like, okay, this is just out of control. So from now on, every U show, I'm going to pick, like, Shishi, okay?
You're going to go for the wilds.
Yeah, I'm going for the absolute no way this could happen, because they can only go up from there. I can't curse them. You know what I mean? I've cursed Oho. I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. Anyway.
Your accurate pick on the show is going to be the Urayu show.
You know what? Maybe I'll just pick Ura that's it. Ura is my perpetual pick to win the U show, because then if it ever does happen, the whole world will celebrate.
Oh my goodness.
It will unite us. It will bring all the fan bases together and sit down together and break bread, and there will be harmony in sumo.
I am hard pressed to think of a reason that somebody wouldn't like Ura.
If somebody ever says something against
Why?
Ura,
How?
they'll just be kicked out of society.
It's hard. Like there was some discussions about Tamawashi and how well he was doing. And I'm just like, there are some people who remember
him breaking arms.
Chionokuni. So
exactly.
It's just like I think Chionokuni would have forgiven him by now, so I certainly will. And also, he's fighting like somebody like
an immortal one.
An immortal one. There's so much to like, but I felt like in the height of that, I'm just like, well, you could probably find something, but for Ura,
you can't find a
there's
thing.
Nothing.
There's
nothing.
You are Scrooge if you don't like Ura. Okay.
Anyway, so Oho.
Sorry, Oho.
Sorry, Oho.
You're not Ura. Sorry, buddy.
We said your name and then talking about half the everybody else on this Banzuke. I am so. This is. I mean, it's sort of for 6 and 9. I feel like it's win-win. It's So it's a win for him because he absorbs. Remember, this is his first time in Sanyaku.
Right. This is experience.
He's absorbing it all, and he gets important wins when he needs to. Like
no bigger win than the Onosato win.
You can't. There is nothing you can say that's going to take that away from him. He fought. He fought with heart and power and soul, and his fight. So we were talking about Daisho. Both of those guys beat the crap out of each other so much they ran out of steam. They paused 1 second and they're like,
"We're going again.
We're going again."
How awesome
there was
that?
That shoulder slump from both of them where they're just like, "We're gassed, but we don't care. One of us isn't on the ground yet."
It was like the Tachi all over again. Okay, give me a second. You ready to go? Okay, go.
Go. Oh, we're doing this.
Oh yeah, I could watch Oho Daisho matches for the rest of my life.
He could have been Oho could have been 0-15.
Yeah,
that match alone. I'm like, you know what? We're good. We're good.
I hope he absorbed that experience and he plans to channel all that energy into the next tournament.
I am already looking forward to Oho in May.
I will not be picking him though.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
that's fine. I might pick him. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna.
You're not a jinx like I am. Okay, you can pick Oho if you want, but I will not. It's Ura every tournament.
My Oniski pick had an outside chance for a couple days.
Yeah, that was not a bad pick. My pick.
Anyway, well, Oho. Everybody, people are coming around to Oho.
They are coming around to Oho.
I think Oho himself is coming around to Oho. There is the belief in self.
He's still pretty young, right?
Super 21, 22, 23.
Let's see what his age is.
Survey says 25.
Oh, he's suddenly not as young as I remember.
I thought, I know, it's because, Atami Fuji and Haku Oho, they're children.
Right. And so you just keep thinking of Oho in the same vein.
I feel like it. Well, in any case, 25 is still
young.
Still young. Hoshoryu young.
Yeah.
And he's fun. He's interesting. And in May, he's gonna be making sure 1, 2, 3.
Right, won't be too bad.
He does well. I'll be right back in.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. Good fights, Oho.
Yeah.
I feel like some of his losses were nerves too.
Right. The fact that, like you said, there were some wins and even the loss with Daisho, it's like, but the sumo was there.
The sumo was there.
And that's what matters.
He can, yeah. That's the kind of give him 6 months, he gets that back.
Right.
It's just very, very pleasant future. This has been just a string of good. I don't know.
I know. Are we gonna hit
good? Abi's just fun. This has been one of the most optimistic upper sections of the Banzuke that we've talked about in some time. Like, there's always been a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, it isn't until we get to poor Takayasu at Maegashira 3 West that we have to get sad.
There's nothing. Yeah, that one's a hard one to pull out of. So Kirishima on the last day.
Thank goodness.
They gave him Toki Hayate, but in their defense, Toki Hayate was on a tear himself.
Right.
Out of nowhere.
I was going to say, did you see that one coming? Because I didn't.
So we were talking before about somebody who knew what they had to do, and they just figured out a way to do it.
Kirishima in a very similar boat, like, obviously injured.
So that is I'll call it the Ozeki pride. Mm-hmm. And he's not Ozeki anymore. Hard to say if he ever will be. But he carried himself like somebody who knew the pressure.
Yep.
And a lot of the things that he was losing to were like injury losses, blasts out, not being able to react to things. And speaking of, he didn't. No, he gave Kotozakura a hell of a time, is what he did. In my mind, it was a win, but I was just like, it was only a win because Kotozakura didn't just embarrass him.
Right.
He made him fight for it. And he won both on the belt and in the parry. Mm-hmm. So whatever's going on with his body, the mind's still there. And that's something that's been a problem for Kirishima, is that sometimes, like, he loses the spirit, he loses the edge in addition to losing the body, and that's sort of what caused him to fall out.
You're right.
So he's getting that back.
He's got a lot of pressure because every Mongolian who has risen to the top has become Ozeki or Yokozuna, so... He was Ozeki, yes. I don't know if they've all become Yokozuna or not. I don't know. I think it was just Ozeki, so at least he's touched Ozeki. He's
touched Ozeki. It's still...
He was in that elite group, and he was the first one to go on the Yokozuna run. And that's when everything fell apart for him, and it sounds like...
he was one win away from being Yokozuna and fall apart.
One win away. Ugh.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
Something that clicked for me. So Kirishima, the original Kirishima, his stable master, was also an Ozeki who fell out of the rank due to injury. So it was him and I forget the other person, but they were some of the first people who were Ozeki who stuck around after they were no longer Ozeki. There was a convention to, like, if you're an Ozeki, Goedo did this. If you're an Ozeki and you're no longer, and you fall out of being Ozeki, you retire.
Yep.
You hang it up. It was sort of a soft Yokozuna. Mm-hmm. And the original Kirishima got injured, and so in his mind, he wasn't an Ozeki because he was bad. He was an Ozeki because his leg was messed up. Right. And so he stuck around. He broke the stigma.
Oh.
And then he sort of had a second non-Ozeki career afterwards that he did some good sumo. And now, fast forward.
Protege, oh my goodness. Look at that art.
Now it would be, I think both Kirishimas would feel it would be very poetic if he regained the rank.
Right. Like, that's the goal.
That's the goal. But
it's so hard.
Oh my goodness.
It's so hard. Especially because it sounds like his injury is a neck injury. And we've been down that path before. We get 28-year-olds retiring with neck injury, 2 of them. Well, no, Onosato didn't have neck injury. But anyway, 2 28-year-olds retiring because of injury. We've already had a sad precedent set.
Yeah, but in any case, the 8 and 7 keeps him in Sanyaku, which keeps him in the, I'll say, the running to run.
Right. He's going to have to start over, but at the same time, it's not like getting back into Sanyaku to start over.
Yeah, like there were poor Asaniyama. again.
Oh.
About there was that whole now he's through this and now he's through this. Then he's in the top of it and then he's in Sanyaku. It's like and then he can get back to his rank.
And he gets injured right when he makes his Sanyaku return.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that whole thing. Kirishima now he goes into May, and he'll be like, okay, it can start here, or he can just go into May and be like, I'm doing well for myself.
Right. Maybe the way to do it is to just one day at a time. Don't think about the future.
That could be the thing. And I think you can go from 5 to 7, 8, 7 in the last 3 days. And you look at that and be like, okay, I think I still got it.
Right.
Not the best, not gunning for ropes, but solid. Enough to get the job done in one of the fiercest blenders.
Like, as much as people get on about how these guys aren't as good, there's nobody dominant. I mean, think about all the people you got to go through.
This is the perfect segue to talk about
the situation with
this situation
all
here.
3 of those guys, yeah.
So both of the Waka brothers, this is me getting to Abi. Yep. Both of the Waka brothers fought like they were still in Sanyaku. So in a way, you could say that Megashira started here.
Right.
And so you have people that are looking at a prospect of having to figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses before you even get to fighting other people.
Right. Unless you find a way to be tougher than them.
Which is a tough order. Also, what's interesting is, now we're going to get into Abi, people that you beat in the past then start to beat you, and people that you lost to in the past are you're starting to beat. And you're going back and forth, and it's fairly even.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the thing. If he loses to both Waka brothers. If he beats both Waka brothers, he's 8-7.
Right. Makes all the difference in the world.
And so here's Waka Takakage, loss. Wakamoto Haru beats him. Wakamoto Haru loses.
Oh, man.
So Waka Takakage beats him. They're going back and forth.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, you got to give credit to Abi for, beating like the top guys. He falls out after that, but he gives it his all when he's facing the Ozeki and the Yokozuna, and he got 2 wins there. Did he even fight Onosato? I don't think he did. He did. That was in the middle of his losing streak.
This is another. Abi had Onosato's number. Onosato figured him out.
How come he didn't fight Onosato sooner? Like, because he has Hoshoryu and Kotozakura then. Why did it take so long? That's a little strange to me.
It's just the way it panned out.
Got it. Okay.
I don't think it means anything by it.
It just
but what I will say,
having to shuffle between different people.
You do. So he beats Kotozakura. He beats Hoshoryu. And he attempts a Henka on Takayasu on day 15.
I can't believe he had the guts to do that. That shows you how twisted this dude is. He knew everybody wanted Takayasu to win. He knew everybody expected a Henka from him. And he knew that there was a chance that Takayasu could have trouble with that. And he did it anyway. He's a twisted man.
So who cares about 6 and 9 when you're doing stuff like that?
He's endlessly entertaining, whether you are furious at him or grateful to him.
Yeah. So somebody else that he lost to that he has normally a lot of success against is Gonoyama.
I do think that Abi is battling reoccurring, probably elbow issues.
Potentially.
And that might affect, because when you're a pusher thruster, especially when like him, he's very like the wave thing.
Well, here's why. Where's Gonoyama? Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Thought he beat the pants off of Gonoyama. Maybe not. Never mind. But in any case,
if you are a pusher thruster and your elbows are, not great. Pusher thrusters, the timing is everything. If you don't get that Supari going at the right time, like, you've already lost the match. What Abi has going for him is all the ballet moves and all the trickery and all the insanity that he pulls off. That's his added element. But if he's hurt, and it explains why he's not as powerful and he has to rely more.
Yeah, up there in years as well, by the way.
Yeah, he's much older. Like, you think about when you first started and you remember when he came in. And it's like, wow, I've been watching this sport a really long time. I'm old.
So he is definitely going to be in range of everybody for Chaos. And he's been in and out of Sanyaku, and there's nothing saying that he doesn't swap this around and goes back into it. And
right, he might flop with swap, not flop.
He has trouble staying out of Sanyaku. He also has trouble staying in Sanyaku.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, if you see him upper Megashira, he's going to cause some problems, and he's going to do pretty well for himself. It's just once he's in Sanyaku,
doesn't work out.
He'll hold one, maybe two tournaments, and then bridge too far.
Right. It kind of shows you the level of he's better than Maegashira, but he's not quite Sanyaku.
Correct.
Not a mainstay anyway.
So this is where he's at. So don't worry about the 6 and 9. I don't think people are worrying about Abi. I think people have Abi voodoo dolls.
Yeah, I think most people, like, either you're endlessly entertained by him or you're like, I can't stand him. He has done the worst things. Now, thankfully, Takayasu won that match, because if Takayasu lost to a Henka by Abi, I think he'd have to, like, hire security. I can't believe he did that.
There was that moment. I think everybody had that moment that he sidestepped. You're like, no!
Literally, I gasped. I'm like, ooh! And then I'm like, oh, good. You know, at least Takayasu was probably like, he's going to Henka me. I know he's going to do it. I know this dude.
He didn't go along. It's fine. Fine. Keep being you, Abi.
Yes.
Don't listen to these haters.
Right? Just be chaos.
We need this. All right. So, good news for both Waka brothers.
Now, think about, though, how Wakataka Kage's tournament started. I thought
0-4, but Onosato, Hoshoryu, Kotozakura, Daieisho.
Oh, of course.
So, like, you do start 0-4, and that first week I'm sort of just like, damn it.
This is what happens.
I was like, oh, I guess he missed his moment in this first week. Also, then considering that Takayasu beats him, because at this point in the tournament, we didn't realize what Takayasu was going to become.
Right, that ended up being a big...
So you look at this 2-5, and you're just like, ah.
Yeah, we kind of discussed this in the preview show. The thing about Wakataka Kage is, while he was down in the lower ranks, a lot of these guys surpassed him. Once again, here was a guy. It was Wakataka Kage, Kirishima, Hoshoryu. And it was Wakataka Kage that was like, oh, maybe he can do it.
He was on the run.
But then he didn't even get Ozeki. And then Kirishima gets in, and then, like, the injury just threw everything off. So now Wakataka Kage starts all over again, but he's not getting to where he was. He will now with this 9-6. He will come back into Sanyaku.
Yeah.
And
so he was in Sanyaku. He fell out.
Fell out right away.
Now he's going back in.
Hopefully for a better time of it.
Seems optimistic. He was winning on his brand of sumo, which is nice to see, because he was doing his brand of sumo in January and losing. Exactly. So now he's converting.
Right.
The losses to wins. He's figuring out what needs to change in the game, because he's...
And just clearly, I mean, both Maegashira won, both 9-6. Clearly the training partners are...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you do see them starting to do the others' moves. Mm-hmm. Some of Wakataka Kage's push-outs turned to the belt work. Wakamoto Haru's getting pretty good at Oshi Sumo. Mm-hmm. So...
It's an interesting pair. It's like the first time we've had, like, a true pair come in and wreck things.
Yeah. And now, like, you see this, like you would say, Megashiro 1, 9-6, Waka brother.
What are they going to do as far as promotion?
The both of them are just gonna slump up one rank. They're both gonna be Kamasubi.
Oh yeah, and Kirishima will
be Sekiwake.
Oh, perfect.
There will be a heated discussion over Kamasubi 2 East for Takayasu, or do they just dump him at 1 East?
And after all that's happened,
hard sell to go to one of these two guys and say sorry. you're not in.
Yeah.
At the same time, you go to 4 East with a 12-3
Yusho.
tied record with the Yusho winner and being like, how's
Sorry,
3
you
ranks?
get Megashore 1.
How's 3 ranks?
Ooh, that is going to be really spicy.
It's gonna be a mess. And if Oho or Abi pulled out a Kachikoshi on top of all this would have been an absolute nightmare.
Oh yeah, so it's good that they
we have a smaller problem to deal with than we could have had.
Right, and they're not going to open up an extra spot just so Takayasu can have something.
They might.
You think so? They should.
They should is the correct word in that.
They should. Let's lower some standards, everybody.
Yeah, well, they fought for so long to get Sanyaku down to 4 spots.
Yeah.
And now there's a reason to have a 5th spot.
And they've done it before.
Well, we'll talk about that whenever the Guest of Banzuke stream is.
That'll be fun.
It'll be there. But for Wakataka Kage, reversal of fortunes going upwards on his brain of sumo. Very good to see. For Wakamoto Haru, he is also sort of doing his brand of sumo, and it's working this time. They have very similar turnouts this tournament in terms of what was going on.
Even like the fact that there was a little struggle for both of them, it was in a different way.
Yes.
But they both pulled it off in the similar way. Like, it really was symmetry, yeah. I tell you.
Wakamoto Haru had a problem of, if you get him on the tacha, he just can't get set. Mm-hmm. But here's Gonayama, beats him. Abi beats him. Takanosho sort of beats him. Say what you want. Tommy Fuji, Takeru Fuji, heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. He's beating all of them.
Yep.
He's able to do defense and reflex in the ways that there was like an off switch sometimes when he gets into Sanyaku. Maybe it's nerves, maybe it's the injuries.
Well, what's tough is for a while he was doing all the risky sumo moves.
There's that too.
And now he really can't do them anymore, I'm guessing, because he did actually end up hurting his foot. So now he has to evolve, like we always discuss. And it looks like he is.
Also, memorable fights against Kirishima, marathon belt match. Mm-hmm. Both of them won. This was a chess match.
It seemed like it could go either way.
And so it was long. Both of them were looking for opening. It could have gone either way. It's just that Kirishima just had the initiative and he took it. Mm-hmm. Hoshoryu, he did that weird throwing him and like they disengaged and then Hoshoryu's back like nudged him out. And so Hoshoryu won while facing the other way.
It was very strange.
Very Hoshoryu. But
yes.
Wakamoto Haru basically made Hoshoryu go to those lengths.
Right.
So, it's a loss, but
when you can find the positives.
Yes. And again, that's a loss, and then that's his 9 and 6. Mm-hmm. And those are losses that he was that close. So
right. It could have been different, just a millimeter difference.
That's where he is. So well done, both Waka brothers.
Yes.
Still riding high and
little ways before we have to get sad.
A little bit, not there yet. So Gonayama, another Makakoshi butt, because that 7 and 8 is with a win against all 4 Sanyaku.
What an improvement for him.
This was his thing. He could not break that ceiling. Mm-hmm. So he also beats Daisho, which was a big wall.
Oh, yeah.
That
surprised me.
Day 1.
That surprised me.
And that is like for me, it's like, then we're done. Then we're done talking about it. 7 and 8, sure. People are still able to beat him on timing rather than power.
Right. He's got some things to work on.
He still has things to work on, but
no Fusen.
Yes, this is
the 7 and 8 without a Fusen.
I didn't even think about that. This is a clean 15 days. Not a single pull on that. Also beats Kimbozan and Abi.
And Oho's.
So he's
Takeru Fuji, right?
Takada.
Oh, that's Takada.
Takada Fuji.
Yeah, I can't see.
Yeah. He got thrown a gimme there, I guess. I don't know.
I know. Takada Fuji was not having a great time.
Not a Fusen, but well, in any case.
Don't do it, John. Don't claim that Fusen right there.
I kid. You earn every day of this at this rank. So 7 and 8, he'll maybe go down a rank, but like for a while we weren't sure if there was going to be improvement out of Gonoyama.
Yeah, he's finally putting stuff together and he's learning how to beat the top guys. Can he do it consistently?
This is his next step is, okay, so you're beating the top guys now. Figure out when you're all beat up, how do you deal with the your fellow brethren clawing for the top? And
right.
He figured those two things out together, and
suddenly you're somewhere you never expected to be.
Exactly. So a very optimistic 7 and 8 out of him. And a very, very optimistic 6 and 9.
Probably the best 6 and 9 you'll ever see.
Oh my goodness.
What in the world is going on with Chiyoshoma?
Does not get double-digit losses this high up. On one hand, okay, somebody finally realized he was here and they give him the Makakoshi.
Right, they were like, okay, guys. Once again, it was it's getting a little dicey.
You know, sometimes during a football or soccer outing, like you have a streaker on the field, but then like the streaker's like really good at running and he's like outmaneuvering all the security guards, and you're like, are we gonna
do something about this?
I know.
Like the players have stopped playing. And
everybody's watching. This guy just running circles around the security teams. And just like finally somebody tackles the guy and they're bringing him out. It's like somebody finally noticed that Chiyoshoma's here.
Right. It's like what was he? He was 3 and 2 on the 5th day.
Yeah. So yeah, for there was a moment there that it looked like he was gonna get away with it.
Well, I think it was Kotozakura was like, listen.
Oh yeah, there was.
Listen, dude.
Some of his matches were one-sided. Mm-hmm. And then some of his matches involved him henkeing the Yokozuna.
Hoshoryu he had to be nervous to lose that way.
Hoshoryu almost pulled that off.
I know.
Ridiculous.
He just ran out of room. Yeah.
A half a second more time and
he would have beaten him.
That would have been the most amazing reversal.
That's the thing is like
so close.
Yeah. I'm thinking injury, nerves, everything collided for that situation to happen, because how could he not expect Chiyoshoma to hank at him?
Yeah.
Like, did he really think, the families knowing each other meant there'd be honor?
No.
There's no honor with Chiyoshoma. He's allowed to hanka. We all know he's going to do it. You should know.
He has the hanka pass, guys.
And he's older, so he should be allowed to do that against the Yokozuna, I guess.
He does get a Torinaoshi fight at a Wakataka Kage as well, and made Wakataka Kage work for it in both fights. Mm-hmm. That's impressive considering what we just said about Wakataka Kage.
And then he went on, he lost to Tobizaru, but he went on and still won a couple matches after that.
Yeah, so he still had something in the tank. Fights Kirishima pretty early on. So it wasn't as even Steven neck and neck as the Wakamoto Haru fight, but he put Kirishima through his paces.
He looked good.
So yeah, I jested and jape about Chiyoshima sneaking up in here, but there are matches where he is showing you that there is no fortune involved in how successful he is.
Right. And I will say this about Tamawashi too. I'll go more in depth when we get to Tamawashi, but fighting in the era he did made it very difficult to be successful. We'll just say that.
Yeah. So, also good news for us. 6 and 9 means that he's going to be at least in range of the Sanyaku again in May.
Love to see some more of those.
Chaos. They might throw him to Hoshoryu again. Just for
fun.
Just for giggles. He is...
If
it was a 5 and 10, he'd be out of range. But the 6 and 9, if he's a Megashira 5, maybe a Megashira 6 who goes on a hot streak...
Oh, I think I remember now what the thing was. Any Mongolian who's made it to Ozeki has then made it to Yokozuna. I think that's what the supposed thing that has happened in the past is. And now people are dogging Kirishima for that. Oh, anyway, I only thought of that because Chiyoshoma is also a Mongolian. Yes. And like I said, the Hoshoryu's family and Chiyoshoma's family are apparently quite friendly. Anyway.
So, well done, Chiyoshoma. Bless you. And your sumo always and forevermore.
I know. Who could dislike Chiyoshoma?
People who don't like Hinkas.
Well, yeah. I guess he's definitely got a big mark.
There's a couple things, but I mean, it's such a net positive.
Yeah.
Love him, hate him, who cares? You just enjoy seeing him.
Exactly.
So, Tobizaru, the thematic opposite of Gonoyama. So, That's 6-9. He is 6-2 against people out of Sanyaku or higher. And then the 7 losses are all these people. These savages that we've just been talking about. Hoshoryu, Onosato, Kotozakura, Oho, Daisho, Kirishima, Abi.
He's the perfect example of what we just talked about.
What I was talking about when we were saying you've got to figure all this out. And then, then he doesn't get that win against Wakataka Kage. You're like, sorry, buddy.
Right.
We know that you have a 6 or 7 loss bye that you're working through here, but
too bad.
You just dropped that one. Sorry.
Got to be perfect on all the other matches.
So
he was dealing possibly with the stress.
The way he's fighting.
I have to say though, this was the best Tobizawa Ura match we've ever had.
Yes.
We always talk about the Tobizawa Ura match. It was amazing.
They were pawing and clawing.
Yeah. Ura was matching his, weird little grab, but it was so intense, and you were like, who's going to win this? That was
perfect
classic.
Day 15 fight.
Exactly. It's
Beautiful
like, it should always be the
wrap-up.
Day 15 fight.
So, something else. Tobizawa has been going for that raw leg kick for a long time, just kicking out people's legs. It never worked until, of all people, Takayasu.
And it makes a huge difference.
Imagine if Takayasu decides, I'm not going to get kicked by this guy, and barrels him over. How many different things would have changed?
Yeah, some of Takayasu's hesitancy is what cost him.
Yes.
And it stinks when it's against someone like Tobizawa, who he could have beat. But Tobizawa, once again, there's another character. The fact that you want to kick people's legs out, there's something twisted in you, too.
Yeah. It is called Kekayashi.
Oh, yes.
Which is emphasis on kek for people who know what kek is. And also, one last thing, a very peak Tobizawa moment. Ichi Yamamoto staggers him. Tobizawa does a blind spin and parries Ichi Yamamoto using his back.
That was actually a pretty good match, too.
It was a good match.
It's like going to get up there. Yeah, it's going to get up there with the Ura Tobizawa match if those two can keep fighting each other.
So
yes, Ichi Yamamoto. Man.
Yeah. So 6-9 for Tobizawa, but there's a lot to like. And losses are against very understandable people to lose against.
Right. He's not, we're not seeing improvement from him where he could suddenly beat these guys.
Well, it's more also that a lot of the people that are improving are doing so at a much faster pace than he is. He's still working on it. He's still fighting pretty well.
How old is Tobizawa? Because he was the guy who was stuck in Juryo for a long time.
Yeah, he was. He's getting up there.
Like, is he around Ura age?
33.
Wow, he's way older than I realized.
Yeah, Ura's up there too, but yeah, and he's fighting.
We got a whole bunch of guys that are like suddenly heading towards like retirement type age.
Yeah, but they're fighting like they don't care.
Right, so you don't realize that they're that age.
Which is the flip side of the whole injury thing that we always talk about, which some people do take care of themselves.
Right, or some people are invincible like
or some people just have the DNA for it.
Yeah.
Some people are Gumby.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. So, despite the 6-9, well fought, well done. This does sort of answer the question about whether or not he's going to be touching Sanyaku again anytime soon. He's probably not.
No,
it's
okay.
It's okay. We physically can't all be there because there's no space anyway.
Right, like whoever breaks through that mess up there is going to be elite.
It's going to be elite, and also, as we're seeing, they don't stay anyway because it's just so violent.
That's true.
So violent.
It's a violent sport, John.
Okay, so it's gotten this for how far of it? So we were an hour and change. So we had the Hoshoryu rants.
Yeah, maybe not so.
I wouldn't say that was sad though.
No, that wasn't sad. That was fiery.
That was fiery. That was impassioned. This is sad. This is a 3-12, and
there was like one moment when he fought Oho where I got excited.
So he does for his 3 wins. His 3 wins are against Oho, Kotozakura, and Kirishima. So he's beating the very best, which proves that the mind and the focus can still be there.
I think he probably has a broken body.
He may have to pick his battles. So the loss against Onosato, he had figured Onosato out, which again, Onosato was improving because these are two people that had his number, and he blacklisted them.
Yep.
I did the hang up gesture.
It's too bad people can't see all the hand things that we're doing.
But I'm quarter Italian. I'm sorry, guys. I can't handle it. So, unfortunately, the three, like, if it was a 5 and 10, it would be okay. I slapped down a step back, but 3 and 12.
Yeah, that's bad territory.
That is something wrong territory, and I am hoping this is a bad one. I'm hoping it's just something in Osaka Air just didn't help him.
He's starting to remind me of Onosho, which is scary.
It's so May we're gonna see.
Okay,
I would say so. He was threatening with the top Megashiras. And we're like, okay, he can't hang out with the best of the best of the best of the best. For this, he's gonna get knocked down and back into the mid, and because beforehand when he was lost in the woods, he was sort of drifting down. He would get down to that low, and he'd be like 8-7, 7-8, and then it was the Takayasu retirement revival that got him back up here.
Right, he had like a little extra.
So now he's tumbling back down to where he was pre-revival. If he goes back down there and then him being a little slower and a little more beat up stops mattering because he's not fighting as good people, he's gonna flip that into like a 10 and 5, and everything's fine. If we go into May and it's another 8-7, 7-8, all right, maybe the wind's knocked out of his sails a little bit more.
Like maybe he can sort of continue a career, but I don't think we're ever gonna see Sanyaku Takanosho. Like this is it.
It's maybe ceiling.
He might be Takada Fuji now, and he's so young. Not young, but he's not Takada Fuji age.
He's had historic injuries.
Yeah, I don't know what went on in that stable, but I'm just joking. I'm just saying bad luck in that stable.
Just go after knees.
Yeah, I know.
You get a paddle.
Ugh.
All right, let's get this out of the way.
Yeah, you want to talk about sadness.
Takayasu 12 and 3. So, taking a giant step back from the pain of that day 15.
Okay.
The Ozeki aura has returned.
Which had been gone for a little bit.
It had been gone for a good 4 to 6 months, that he was fighting more like a veteran than he was like an Ozeki. Nobody would doubt that he was an Ozeki this tournament.
Right. You would say, oh yeah, like if you didn't know anybody's rank, yeah, he must be an Ozeki.
Yeah. So I still remember the sound of that hit when he cracked Daisho in the side of the face. The echo of it. Mm-hmm. And that was a good 10, 15 seconds into a match that these guys are slugging each other out. And he just goes...
Yeah, like he was like, you think you're a tough guy?
He cracks him. And Daisho, tough as nails, just goes back to work the next day anyway.
Right.
This was day 6 that he basically floors Daisho with a right cross.
And I mean, that's the match to do it.
And then Daisho just gets up and still has a good time of it. Doesn't give a damn. So does that kind of thing to Daisho. The fight with Hoshoryu in, whatever shape he was in, but puts the pace on him.
Right.
Hoshoryu, who puts the pace on other people.
Right.
Very impressive.
He's like, hey, kid, you want to be Yokozuna? Let me show you something.
So, also amusing, outpowers and outblasts Onosato, and then beats Kotozakura on the belt.
Mm-hmm. Like, he did show the wide range of his ability.
Yes, also, I do enjoy the beat the Ozeki, eats at their own game. Mm-hmm. And then also does that to Daisho. And so he is going from person to person. He's just like, oh, you think you're good at sumo like that? Let me show you what that's like.
Uh-huh.
And I was drinking it in by the gallon.
But
by the gallon.
Man. But when you look at the 3 losses, you know in your heart that he could have beaten any one of those guys.
Any one of those guys. So I'll give Tobizaru props because this was pre-nerves Takayasu.
Right.
If that Tobizero fight was like if you take Chirinomi and Tobizero and you flip them, I would give Tobizero no credit.
Right.
I'd be like, it was all Takayasu who just fell apart at the end.
Right.
But Tobizero to beat him on day 3 when nobody knows nothing.
Yep.
It's Tobizero.
Right.
It's Tobizero being Tobizero. Kirishima apparently has Takayasu's number, so that's sort of a nemesis matchup for him.
Which would create nerves as well.
And Chirinomi had no business winning that, but he won it anyway because Chirinomi had a hell of a good
Didn't
March.
he have 11-4?
He was 11-4. He was fighting out of his mind.
So, okay, definitely we can go into territory of Takayasu could have beat him, but at least it was like this guy had an 11-4.
Chirinomi was in contention.
Yeah. And maybe he just got a little extra oomph for that fight.
I think Chirinomi is just going to fall. He's
going to get wrecked the next
He's going to get wrecked in May. This is what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
He got wrecked in January, and he's going to get wrecked in May.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just March, and he woke up.
Just in time to wreck Takayasu's chances.
And he's back. He's like, okay, back to sleep.
So, I want to talk a little bit about how... Okay, first of all, flags are at half-mast in Japan right now.
Yes.
Everybody wanted Takayasu to win.
Yes.
Onosato has plenty of time to win more. We know the time is ticking for Takayasu. This is the 9th time this has happened. I didn't realize it was that many times. But a lot of people were saying things like he choked and blah, blah, blah. Well, you got to kind of look at this in perspective, right? Maybe you say that the first 5 times. Because he was a much younger fighter back then. But for him to even reach this, to break our hearts, is actually something extraordinary. I mean, it is like a Shakespearean tragedy. The man just can't do it. But he's a year older each time he does this. And how does this end up being like one of his best performances? Like somehow he just breaks your heart even worse because...
We all felt like this time... He'd already had all the hard matches out of the way. We were talking to ourselves. We're like, okay.
Well, of course, we did say to ourselves, don't want it.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that didn't last for me. But
oh, it did for me. I was like, I absolutely refused to believe he could do it because I'm like, I can't. And it still broke my heart. I literally, this is not hyperbole.
You put the walls up and they didn't help.
They didn't help. When I was watching the playoff match, I actually got heart palpitations. I'm like, okay, this is dangerous for my health. But, you know, he didn't have the slow walk. Did you notice that? It was a very determined, like, I'm getting out of here walk. It was not depression walk. This man is a tough dude.
The mental toughness alone. And then, like you said, the physical toughness to keep getting these kinds of numbers at his age, despite the injuries.
Exactly. I think he's 35 now, okay? And he's got... horrible back situation.
35.
Yeah, 35 years old. I mean, how can you really say that how can you really call him a choker? I'll put it at this point. He's just good enough to at least do what he's done.
It is. We do need to be looking at this from the other direction. It's just that he is putting himself in this situation over and over. And that level of consistency
is how he winds up in
mastery
this.
Is the prize here. And does he get the cup? Doesn't he get the cup? We all want him to get it. But I think Takayasu is showing us he doesn't need it.
Right. I mean, it's a hard thing probably for him to go back and deal with. But at the same time, a lot of 35-year-olds aren't doing that. It hurts.
There's the picture. Shout out to Sunday Morning Sumo Show, who have a fun and lively Discord. There's a picture of him holding the technique prize, looking half asleep. And underneath they put a caption, "You try."
He wanted to break that participation trophy.
Knife in my heart, but
it is what it is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I didn't think we'd be on this roller coaster again. I thought they shut down the Yusho roller coaster.
What do you say? Like, do you want him to never do it again so we can't be heartbroken, or is it like, let's just keep getting on this ride?
Break my heart, baby.
Keep breaking my heart. Exactly.
Keep breaking it. I ain't gonna say no.
You know what I would just love? If Takayasu just did it again the next tournament. There is no precedent for that. Because he usually ends up, his back is screwed the very next tournament.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be just classic if we got another opportunity?
Like that is a man who could break my heart as many times as he wants.
Oh, his poor mother. She's such a passionate, cute little woman. She's definitely like, come here, baby.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
He'll work through it. Well, but again, well done, Takayasu.
Yeah, I mean, as heartbreaking as it is, I have nothing but positive things to say. It's very hard to do what he's doing. And yeah, you know what? There is no guarantee in a fight. Okay, if you're talking crap about Takayasu, you've never been in a fight before. I can promise you that. Because no fighter would make fun of Takayasu. They'd be disappointed. They'd be saying, man, he should have done this. I wish he did that. No one that actually fights would make fun of Takayasu.
He's a hero behind the scenes.
That's right.
He's everyone's favorite. Like Tamawashi's they were
Tamawashi
interviewing
was
him.
in the U-Show race.
He's
It was
in the
like,
U-Show, and they're like, "Oh, you gonna think of the U-Show?" He's just like, "I want Takayasu to win it." That is the kind of guy he is.
exactly. So
He's the people's Ozeki.
that's right.
You don't need that rank anymore. He outgrew it.
That's right. He's got his own thing he's doing. We need a Takayasu trophy, okay? Add that to the pile of trophies.
How do you make it? You just get one. You just like get like a 3D picture of Takayasu. You print it out.
I know, like that should be the fighting spirit prize. It should be a Takayasu.
It's a Takayasu prize. All right. So it's Daisho One East and it's the Takayasu prize.
Right. We're renaming everything.
We're doing it.
Why not?
We're changing things here. Okay. So Ichi Yamamoto. Bad news. Good news.
What an interesting fella.
Bad news. The 7-7 streak is over.
Yeah, and turned into a 7-8
Turns into
before.
7-8 anyway.
Yeah. Maybe we should have taken bets on the final score instead.
My goodness.
How could he fight so good and then wind up with a 7-8?
Keep in mind, this is an Ichi Yamamoto that we thought he'd get laughed out of M4. This is the best version of Ichi Yamamoto we have ever seen.
His footwork has improved immensely.
Massive improvements. And going inside. Multiple belt wins.
Mm-hmm.
He's going forward. He's staying forward. And
he's not doing the pole slap down thing as much anymore.
Yeah. Also, and I still don't understand this. I don't think he ever will understand this, but he beats Kotozakura by Kataskashi.
That was something else.
He swung an Ozeki down.
And he chased Hoshoryu right out of the tournament.
Yeah, he sure did.
Hoshoryu's like, okay, I can't come back from that one.
He did a Toizaru Terunofuji. He beats him and the guy's just like, nope.
I don't know how good he can get, but there's some potential here for him to keep going.
Yeah. So now what I said about Tobizaru, keep that in mind. That we have Daisho, Kirishima, Oho, Onosato. The best of the best. The
Right.
Sanyaku, the Ozeki. And by the way, 2 out of 3 against Ozeki and Yokozuna. Say what you want about Hosoryu's failing health. He's still Yokozuna.
Right.
It's still a Kamboshi. So 4 of these losses were against people he's not only never fought before. Actually, he has fought Abi before. He didn't fight Abi this tournament. Oh my goodness.
I know. We're so interested in the fact that he beat Hoshoryu and Kotozakura.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. We were robbed of the Abi
This tournament's
match.
trash. I take back everything I just said.
Yeah, forget it.
God.
We're just going to shut the show off right now.
I'm hitting the button. I'm sorry. We're
Bye,
done here.
guys.
I can't. I've just been thrown. My energy's gone.
Wait,
Anyway.
Ura's next. We can't quit. Thank you, Ura.
Right. Okay.
All right,
you saved me.
we're
You
back.
saved me from the abyss.
We're back.
Anyway, yes. Quality of sumo for Ichi Yamamoto up on all regards. He's even doing the snap push pull. Beats Hiro to Umi with the snap push pull, which is like that Abi special.
And he's starting to figure out the angles a little bit better.
Starting to figure out the angle. So he is much more. He needs to go forward. Abi can go either way, and Abi's also got the crazy lateral movement stuff
Ichi
going on.
Yamamoto cannot.
He cannot. That's not his brand of sumo.
No.
What he's doing that Abi can't is getting inside, finding a way to get that lanky body to breach the defenses, and then like do some like bow arm belt work or just grab them, wrap around, and run them out. So
And I've never seen Abi grab an arm in Kotozakura, so even the fact that he could pull that off.
So probably the biggest win for me is we're starting to find sumo that is Ichi Yamamoto sumo.
Right. It's taken a while for...
He's finding his... Because he was just the crazy, awkward guy with a lot of spirit or the store-brained Abi.
Right.
And both are good. Both are nice, and both got him to Megashiro 4 West, so say what you want about it. But now, like, we are seeing that's an Ichi Yamamoto move. Mm-hmm. This is what he does. If you do that, if he does that to an opponent, they're in trouble. Like, we're getting that out of him.
I bet you we see the Kotozakura again.
Oh, my goodness. I
know. I literally was, like, puzzled. Like, what did I just see?
You know, like when you give a kid a flavor of ice cream that they've never had before, like, here's mango ice cream, and they eat it, they're like...
Exactly.
They're like, what?
What is happening?
What is it? We can have this? You could put this in ice cream?
This is what ice cream can taste like?
What?
Yeah, that's what we got.
So I am highly, highly anticipating Ichi Yamamoto's May.
Yeah, I want to see...
we were given a taste of something different.
Mm-hmm. Want to see an 8 and 7 at least, I mean.
Yeah, and as I just realized, we have that Abi match that has been denied us.
Right. So now we really can't move forward without seeing it again.
One more time.
Definitely May. Because Abi's going to drop down.
He's going to drop down.
And Ichi Yamamoto will probably stay there? I don't know.
He'll be somewhere M5.
So they're going to fight each other.
They better.
Unless they decide, no, we're not going to do it.
Be upset. They'll be mad.
I feel like he's probably learned something from Abi as well. Like, from fighting him.
Oh, definitely.
It's given him some ideas. So, the more they can fight, the more experience Ichi Yamamoto can get.
He didn't fight either of the Waka brothers either.
Interesting. There's just so many people to fight.
They just pole vaulted right over M1 and Kamasuba. He fight that. I'm done. I'm over it.
We can't even talk about him anymore.
I can't. I'm becoming blind with rage. We gotta go.
Rage over.
Rage over. Here comes 3 somersaults. So front flips, 2 dramatic crashing out into the crowd, and a Dark Souls dodge roll on his losses.
Yeah.
If nothing else, was making sure the Osaka crowd had something to watch.
And you know that. Honestly, he thinks about entertainment. He really does. Obviously, he cares about sumo, but he's thinking, like, I want to get the crowd going. He gets a Fusen, too. So, why not?
Free helps to be free.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he was doing flips and nut stuff like crazy. And so there was, like, the first time you do it, you're just like, and then the second time he does a somersault, we're just like, he did that before. And then he did the third time. I think the third time was Onosato over here. And I had a moment. I was just staring at the screen. Like, I had missed the fact that he apparently kicked Onosato on the turnaround. Like, I'm just like, he did it again, and then he landed clean on a blind somersault out of the ring. And then he looked around, just like, oh, I'm on my feet.
He was like surprised.
I was. I sat back into my chair. And I'm just like, he's making this fun.
Yeah,
because he wants to.
Right, the crowd is literally sitting there rooting for him every time. But it's like, even in a loss, they still have something to cheer with him. His like somersaults are kind of like the stamps for the Yokozuna ceremony.
Kind of.
It's its own way of exercising the demons out of it. It
sure is. So, sumo-wise, 7 and 8 is really close. And they gave him Abi and the Tobizaro match that we had mentioned at the very... So, fighting Abi, he just blasts Abi out.
It was...
Reverses the script on Abi, which was... And Irma's been doing this. He's been doing this, like...
Straight on
just like
power.
Just like the biggest trick in the book, fight him clean.
That's the great thing about right? He can do anything he wants, and it'll still be a surprise.
Yep. Also did that to Hiradoumi and Atami Fuji, who are people that are not easy to move.
Right.
And still doing his brand of sumo, as we saw on the aforementioned Tobizaro match. Also a fun match with Takanosho, that they take turns trying to like pivot and throw each other.
Yeah.
And he does like this dozy-do dance move, and he grabs Takanoshi's arm and he pulls it around.
Yeah.
Like he's like in the middle of some sort of a square
Like
dance.
like he was going to probably try some like head throw again.
Yep. But then, so Ura's still having fun. And again, like.
That's the point.
This is him.
Ura is not shooting to be Ozeki or be in the Sanyaku. He's aiming to entertain. And he's doing it.
Almost got Kachikoshi while doing it.
I know. I was like, so close. So close. But, with a 7 and 8, he's not going to drop far.
He may not fight the Yokozuna, but he will be fighting almost everyone else.
And we never did get to see him fight the Yokozuna anyway.
We got close. Oh.
If only that Fusen didn't happen.
Fine. Well done. Thank you, Ura, as always.
Yes. I want to send a thank you card to his stable.
The beautiful blessing.
Please, Ura, never stop being you.
So, slight sadness in Kinbozan, but with the 6 and 9,
at least he
held it together
sort
at the end.
of, yeah.
If he lost that last day against Shonan Naomi, that is depressing. Yeah. But he held the depression off. Now it's just frustrating. Remember, this is the guy who almost won the Yusho in January.
Which is, I think this was devastating for him.
So you can see that he was frustrated in some of these matches.
Oh, yeah. Like, you saw Rage Kinbozan. Like, he was, like, rushing at people with that intense anger. Yeah. And it worked for some matches, and then all of a sudden, like, they used it against him.
Some of his tachi-eyes missed. So, like, when he went and he fought, I think Chiyoshoma was a big one. Like, his arms go past on the tachi-eye.
How does that even happen?
Lack of focus. Could have been that he was frustrated from the start. Maybe he was working through something. But, as Endo can attest, his tachi-eye sometimes worked really well. And when he fought, I think it was Atami Fuji. Yes, Atami Fuji. It was like a snapshot from January that he hits Atami Fuji and he just bull rushes him out with like a scary amount of aggression. Mm-hmm. So like that kind of sumo is still in there,
but it just wasn't consistent.
So what we don't know is, did he go up too fast?
Mm-hmm. Which we worried about.
Which I think this was about the reigns where old Kinbozan sort of fell off anyway.
Yep.
So this could just so either he went up too fast and he just couldn't adjust. This is just where his ceiling is and everything's normal and fine and don't worry about it. Or January was sort of like a special alignment of things, and now we're back to like a normal Kinbozan who's out of his depth.
Well, and part of that too, though, is you're riding the adrenaline from January and all that happened, and maybe putting too much pressure on yourself to do the same thing again.
Yes.
And Kinbozan, I mean, got to consider one thing here, right? Kinbozan is not Japanese. There is a little bit different temperament outside of, like, the Japanese are a stoic people, okay? So it's easier for them to sort of temper things down, and I even throw that in Takayasu's court, The passion can work against you, especially in a sport full of stoic guys. And I think there was a little bit of that, at least, if not a combination of other factors. Because like I said, you could see his emotions on his face. You could see it when he was fighting. You could see it after the match was over. If the tournament's that much in your head, it's already over for you.
It is a good point that he could have been right in the frustration. I think there was an interview with Kakuryu that they said that sort of like your mental momentum between day 15 and day 1 is it's static. Mm-hmm. So like 2 months go by. Now this is Kakuryu talking, so to each his own, but he's a Yokozuna. I feel like he knows what he's talking about. I think it was also in the context of talking about Kirishima and his downfall. Mm-hmm. And that like he would so however you felt on day 15 is how you feel on day 1. And so if this is true for Kinbozan, that day 15, a massive frustration, probably was like, this was my Cinderella story, but it didn't pan out, turned into a pumpkin too early. Then you go into day 1 with that anger.
And then you lose.
And then you lose. Then you're 1 and 3 out the gate.
It builds on top of builds.
So
it's so mental. The mental we talk about all the time is so important. It's just as important, if not more important, than the physical. I mean, you have to have a certain physical ability to do this. But mentally is how people lose. Takayasu will definitely tell you that.
It's true. So for Kinbozan, a lot of his future is going to be riding in May.
Right.
Because now it's sort of just like he's crashed out. He's got his win. He's got it out of his system. Now he's rebuilding. Like here, there was a lot of pressure to keep going.
Right. Now he can't have these lofty expectations.
Yes. So now he's knocked down a peg. Now he's just like, okay, I gather, get back to basics, build back up. Mm-hmm. Rather than this compulsion to just keep the floor blasted. Anyway, you get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kimbozan.
Best of luck.
Best of luck. This is the what they call tests a man's character moment.
Most certainly.
So I think he'll push himself out. I think he'll push other people out is more likely.
He's obviously got some skill to do what he
does.
did in January. So.
Yeah. So put a pin in that. Here to Umi 9-6, nicely done.
Good to see him back.
Breaks his Makakoshi streak. Had a little help from the judges. There was 2 matches that were an uncalled mata. Mm-hmm. That's not his fault.
No, can never be.
It's there were people mad at him for that.
It's like, how is it his fault?
It is like weird that it happened twice, but the ref says go, you go, and if the ref,
you can't stop.
You don't stop, and
like you could be mad that he's screwing up the timing, but like he can't just stop and say, oh, it should be a mata.
Yeah, you don't stop.
No,
you don't stop. You go. Particularly Hiro to Umi, who lives and dies by the Tachiai. You can't be uncertain. You go, and then if you hear somebody yell mata, that's when you stop. And if he says hakioi, you keep pushing that guy.
Right, and that guy should know that too.
He should. So he is still getting. So beforehand, when he was having his fall from grace, in his bad Banzuke luck, his style of sumo wasn't really panics. Like he'd hit into people, but then they'd hit him back.
Right.
Now when he hit people, like it stuck, or he was able to keep the momentum going.
Right. He didn't just give up after a powerful hit.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't as all or nothing, because he was able to sort of keep his Tachiai momentum going into the fight. Mm-hmm. He's starting to lose on people that are outwitting him, and so you have Ura, you have Tamawashi, who are crafty individuals.
Tamawashi also was pretty aggressive.
Yeah, he was cracking people.
Yeah,
and
he was back to
so Tamawashi basically just like cold stopped the momentum and then took it from there.
Yes.
So that is the kind of stuff that Hirotomi needs to work on next. But all this doesn't matter because this match against Kotozakura was a thing of beauty. So, say what you want, Kotozakura was 8-5. Kataban pressure's off, likely a big adrenaline dump going on for him. But Hirotomi runs him around the ring with a heart and fire that I hope he remembers, because that was a snapshot moment for him.
Well, he's gonna go up into top guy territory after this.
Yeah, so he's going to be back where he belongs, which is in that mix. Mm-hmm. He now needs to prove that he's worthy of that Sanyaku slot that they kicked him out of, because they sort of kicked him out of the top 5 entirely.
Right, and they're like, you are going to start all over.
Yeah, so when it comes to those X factors, that Ozeki win, big confidence booster. Winning on your A game, confidence booster. Mm-hmm. Henko win, let's not talk about it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I've had Henka beaten right out of me. I don't even notice anymore. I forget about them. With Takayasu gone, I'm like, whatever.
Fine. So well done here to Umi. Now another well done. Takeru Fuji, I believe career high rank or matching career high rank.
Which?
Yes. So I think he got up to Megashira 6 last year, but then didn't fight because his ankle was all messed. So This is his first outing at Megashira 6. This is when we're starting to see, okay, what's he got?
Right, because we really don't know.
This was the big question. This is what we asked when Asaniyama came back up. This is what we asked when Wakataka Kage came back up. This is what we were asking when Hakuoho was coming up before the shoulder surgery. Now he's in the place where he's starting to hit people that know what they're doing, and he gets a 9-6.
Right.
Not bad.
But, I think because of how he debuted, anything less than like double digits makes people disappointed.
It is. Now he's also these last 4 matches are what I call shades of things to come.
Right. This was his first time really you almost can't count that show.
So some of this is the pressure. Mm-hmm. So some of him he was 9-2 at that point. So he was in the picture, feeling that pressure. Theoretically, he's felt it already, but different energy. Like we'd said for Onosato, this is I feel like this is the match that he needs to go over and over and over in his head, because he won on the Tachiai, or he's strongest, but then he lost on the follow-up.
Right.
And that is how he's going to...
That's his weakness, right? Is that he gives it all on the Tachiai, and 9 times out of 10, the lower-ranked guys, you're just going to blast them right out. Once you get to these upper-ranked guys, they can withstand. Even if you push them all the way back, they're not going to get knocked out. So what's your follow-through after the powerful Tachiai? Is it to just... I know that the plan is to keep going forward, but you now have to be on guard for Onosato doing what he did.
To your point, the people that he won against, he had the follow-up. So against Ura and Ichi Yamamoto, he hits him really hard, and then he transitions to containing Ura.
Yep.
And then shoving out Ichi Yamamoto so Ichi Yamamoto can't get anything done. Gets on the inside against Shodai on day 1. Shodai didn't know what was going on. That's fine.
Still.
He gets a paycheck. Shonan no Umi, here he's starting to wake up, but he's still a bigger guy. He gets inside.
At least there's something.
There's something there.
Yeah.
And then these are the fights, again, that you gotta look at.
Now, the Awa Nishiki one is probably the biggest shock, and we can go into that more a little bit when we get to Awa Nishiki. That's the only one where I say maybe he shouldn't have lost that one.
This is, those 4 matches, that is the blueprint for his failure.
Yes.
He brings that back. He works on that. He's going to be terrifying. Mm-hmm. And this is the moment that I was hoping for as a Takeru Fuji fan. You hand him something and you say, work on this.
Right. And here's the thing. Anybody who might feel disappointed because of how he started and where he's at now.
He's fine.
The reason that he was able to do what he did then is no one had seen that Tachiai before. So each time they fought him, it was a brand new match, and it is a powerful, powerful hit. So that's why it works on your debut. Because now they can make adjustments. They know what you have.
They know what's going to happen.
So that's that's the difference.
Yeah. So I will also say there's a bit of pulling going on with him that he needs to work through. That seems to be an Isegahama issue, by the way.
The desperation pull?
Yep. I'll also say, humorously, every single time Takeru Fuji lost, the Abema camera goes right to the former Yokozuna, Teruno Fuji, who's staring death.
How much scarier is he in the track jacket, by the way? Most guys that look like Jolly, whatever. Teruno Fuji looks like he wants to destroy.
There was one time that he just looked pissed, and they keep the camera on him, and like Takeru Fuji like nods to him, and then Teruno Fuji nods, does not move his head, doesn't look towards him, just nods his head and keeps looking forward, just like, wow, cold.
I actually expected a hand to just come up and smack him in the back of the head.
You just can't, like, that hand happened when the cameras weren't nearby.
Exactly. He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I know.
All of a sudden, Takeru Fuji's like, ah!
Just the comedic element of the cameraman. They're like, where is he? Oh, he's on the right side. You're like, cut, pan over, and then
it's definitely fun for them.
There's a former Yokozuna who's just like, don't
even look at me.
Oh God, too funny.
How dare you?
So, Takeru Fuji, Megashira 2-3. So we're gonna get that fight with Hoshoryu that we didn't get. We're gonna get that fight with everyone else.
And now he's had some time to practice and work on it, and
now everyone else has had time to work on it too.
It's a matter of who does it first.
Who's working harder?
Yeah.
Who's got more?
Yep. Who's got more in the tank?
It's exciting.
Yeah. You know he's going to be gunning for Onosato.
Oh God, yes. also like, you know that he's getting better every single time.
Mm-hmm.
He's improving. He's not just like, good enough. It's like, no, he's working on it.
Well, he's from Isegahama. Like, that's where the guys are. So it's like, you can't rest on your laurels. You know what you're supposed to do. And Hakuho is still in there, so.
For now.
Yeah. Should be different by May.
Maybe. It's all rumors and hearsay right now. All right. So, let's go from intensity, thinking of the future, some power and excitement, to relax.
To Shodai.
Shodai
always just sort of like interrupts the flow.
I think I had the exact same notes for him that I did in January, is that sometimes he shows up, he does pretty well. Sometimes Ozeki Shodai shows up and just absolutely demolishes some poor fool.
Who didn't expect it.
There is some fights that he tries really hard, but he loses anyway, and then he does the Eeyore.
Right, and then he's like sad for 3 days.
And he's sad.
It's like, oh, great. He had to lose that match. He's going to be done for 3 days.
Yeah. Also, props for tossing a Tommy Fuji like garbage. The garbage Chuck throws hard enough when the guy's not 400 pounds.
I know, right?
Shodai, again, it's in there.
Right.
Everything's in there. The magic box known as Shodai.
Yeah.
What are you going to pull out today? Are you going to pull out a half-assed Tachiai and he gets pushed out in 2 seconds? Well done. You're going to pull out, going to grapple you with the power of 100 mountains crashing you into the ground? Sorry, buddy. You got the wrong Shodai.
Yeah. It's flip a coin. It's definitely... I mean, what's not to love, you know?
I'm starting to embrace it.
Right, I have totally just decided that Shodai is a fixture, and we just let him do his thing.
Yeah, he fights enough.
Exactly.
He fights enough.
He fights just enough to make it interesting.
Yeah, and it's a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get. And there was a couple of the matches that you're just like, damn, that was some good sumo.
Right. Oh, Shodai, are you waking up? No.
No, he's not waking up.
The very next match, he gets like slapped down.
Yeah, rolls over.
And he's like, oh, no.
Love you, Shodai. Don't change a thing.
No.
Don't. This is the sumo he's always wanted to do.
Shodai will be remembered. I believe that.
Yeah, he will be. Yeah, he will be Ozeki Shodai.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget, he is Ozeki Shodai.
And then we'll talk about the good times he had once he got rid of that pesky rank.
I know, right?
There was Ozeki Shodai, but there was no fun in that.
I know.
Yeah, you need post Ozeki Shodai.
Right, that Ozeki period.
It's all nerves and sadness.
Yeah, Katabon carousels.
Oh, anyway. Well done, Shodai. Or not. I guess it's 6-9.
Do your thing.
Do your thing. I think as a bit, I think one of these months I'm just not gonna write Shodai's score. I'll be like, who cares?
Right. It's like Shodai showed up.
Yeah, like we say this for Ura, but like we still write the score down because we want him to win. For Shodai,
We don't care.
Is it a double digit? Neither way? Nope.
Right. It's like I haven't seen him like crash out.
He's not crashing. He's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I like the idea of like next time. Yeah, Shodai was here.
Yeah.
He did something.
I have to remember this. For the record, I'll write attended.
Attended. I like it.
Alrighty. Tamawashi, going from fun to fun. Did you know he's over 40 years old? I keep forgetting.
Well, if somebody just started watching sumo, no one would guess.
No idea. So we were talking about this with Hiroda Umi, but his power is cracking people.
Yeah.
It is like a raw brawler's power. Sort of like you get into like an actual fight and just people throwing hands.
Yeah, that's a Tamawashi fight.
It's
especially because he goes for the throat.
It's visceral. And also, like we were saying, good timing.
Mm-hmm. There's no wasted effort.
It is pure 100%. I've done this match 1,000 times. I know where to hit you, how to hit you, and I'm ruthless enough to give you everything I've got.
Right, and if you somehow stop me from doing it, then I'm just going to let myself gently out because I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah. He also Hakuoho cracks him, staggers him, spins him around, and shoves him out in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Hakuoho, half his age.
It's insane.
What?
He looks like a totally different... Like, we were talking about, okay, he's finally a veteran, like, what, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's back. He got another year older and he's back.
Yeah, I wanted to make this point. So here on 42 Opinions, we are often wrong. And so I'd like to showcase me being wrong by saying that when Tamawashi was talking about how he wanted to be back in Sanyaku, I'm like, there's no chance in hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we were saying before up here, it's going to be really, really hard to get in there.
But possible.
But, yeah, there is a way in hell. And Tamawashi may walk that way in hell.
Right. I mean, he's going to go through the gauntlet to get there.
He sure as hell is, but if he fights the way he's fighting, okay.
It's so weird. It was funny because even the Japanese commentators, because I had the translation, I think the translation was right, literally said what the English people say. Oh, he'll fight till 50.
Yeah. Okay.
It just feels like he could do that. It's just nuts.
It's a fascinating, beautiful creature. Bless you and thank you, Tamawashi. And yeah, you're gonna be in the top 5. He'll actually be in reigns of Sanyaku.
And it's nuts.
Yeah.
What can you really say?
It just keeps surprising.
The immortal one.
Bless him. Okay, time to be sad just for a little bit. This one hurt me. This one almost as much as Takayasu.
Yeah, things are not going well for Atami Fuji.
So when we were talking about Atami Fuji coming down here, we're like, okay, this is a guy who has been doing 7 and 8, 8 and 7s in the top 3 of Megashira for so long, and then finally he slipped down a little bit. Something just didn't work in January for him, it's like, okay, for long term this is perfect. He gets down here, he gets a special prize, he gets his confidence, he figures it out, and he goes back. That was what was supposed to happen.
And instead, he gets worse. I have to think that this is the health stuff. I have to think.
That would make sense because a lot of his losses were his defenses failing him. Mm-hmm. So he's big. And we know that he can hold. Like, he's had legendary holds in the past. But the majority of his losses were people that were driving him out. And some people that in the past he wouldn't have had trouble with. Now, he may have rolled a bad Shodai, but Shodai smothers him out of the ring. You know, Oshoma, who, to his credit, turned a completely new leaf this tournament.
Yeah, like out of nowhere.
You should be able to big man Oshoma. Even though Oshoma's big, like Tommy Fuji's got it where it counts. And I will say, to his credit, that arm clamp on Shishi, ow.
Yeah.
Ow. Ow.
Shishi doesn't understand, like, you probably shouldn't fight it that way. You're going to get hurt.
No, Shishi doesn't understand a lot of things.
Shishi, it'll be a miracle if he doesn't get injured. Really.
He's going to be the weirdest Ozeki we'll ever have seen.
I know, right?
Absolutely
I think
bonkers.
I think Atami Fuji has energy issues. And like I said, I think it's health related. He's young, which is unfortunate, but I have heard that he has cellulitis and possibly diabetes issues. If his energy is being zapped, it explains why he can't exert his power.
It would explain the sudden lapse. The day 15 match with Sada Naomi, for me, sort of just put a bow on this whole thing. Sada Naomi ran him around the ring, and got him out. So Sada Naomi's
like 37.
Yes, he was at 7 and 7. This was his Darwin match, so he had that little extra something in the tank.
But why does he have more energy than Atami Fuji?
There should be no situation where Sada Naomi is running Atami Fuji around like he's a tiny man.
Right, like they swapped ages.
They did.
So whatever's going on with him, I mean, Teruno Fuji, was notorious for his health problems, and he was able to turn it around. Atami Fuji needs like someone to step in and help him or whatever. Like something major has to happen because he's too young and strong to be falling apart like this.
He needs to be in that sumo future. I don't like this. He's too good for this.
And I mean, he had such potential when he first showed up. It's a shame to see it fall apart like this.
There's a struggle going on. I can only hope the best for him. I can, right.
It's almost. I can see why you say it's almost just as sad as Takayasu. At least Takayasu was competing for U shows.
Yes.
Atami Fuji had one shot, and never again. He just kept.
I'm afraid he's gonna fall apart. don't
like a
it.
Tomokaze situation.
No.
We need.
Don't like it.
We seriously need a major intervention here.
I hope
Terunofuji, get in there, man.
someone. It's like maybe he goes low enough that he passively starts winning, but like look at loses to Ryuden, loses to Sada Naomi, loses to Onokatsu.
Yeah, like I said,
Bad loss.
Something
Troubling.
wrong.
Something wrong. Tommy Fuji, please fix it.
Maybe the warm weather will help.
I hope. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Shinto rituals. Come on, bring everything. Incense. I don't know. God, I can't.
The good luck charms they have in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Oshoma. Flip the script. Actually, literally, because we're flipping the scores as well. 9 and 6. So there's a lot of people known for their pushing sumo who are going for the belt all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He won going backwards twice. Everything else is forward pressure and grappling. It's like a different person showed up in an Oshoma suit who was really good at grapple sumo.
Yeah, it was really strange. I was like, I didn't know he was going to do that.
Yeah. So, hilarious win against Wakataka Kage, I will say, talking about backward sumo,
Yeah.
where he's basically spinning backwards trying to slap down Wakataka Kage for a good 5-6 seconds before it finally lands. I'm like, okay, I guess he could still do that backward stuff. Poor Midori Fuji is just, every time he goes right at Oshoma, and Oshoma just does his lateral movement dump.
Because Midori Fuji's just so small.
Because Oshoma has him figured out.
Right. Some guys have your number.
Then a lot of people, he's beating them on the inside, driving forward, grappling them.
It was good, though, because he kind of was off for a little bit, and then now it's a return to form. And when he started off 0-4, I was like, uh-oh. That's why I always say this. Ignore week 1. It literally means nothing unless, you win all 8 days.
First 7 days don't matter.
Yeah.
Because you can't get a Makakoshi or a Kachikoshi until day 8. So who cares what happens in the first 7 days?
Exactly. And you never know what reverse of fortune is going to happen.
You can go 0-7 and then get 8-7. You can do what Ura did and win 7 in a row and then lose 8 in a row.
Right. Look at Endo, won the first 4.
Yeah, it's a wild mess. But anyway, so we were saying for Oshoma that backward sumo ain't gonna work in the long term.
Right. It's not a consistent plan.
It was very well done, and it showed great reflexes, good sumo sense, good timing,
good backup plan.
So he went back to the drawing board, and he's just like, okay, I got to figure out this belt thing, or apply it. I have a feeling he already knew it, but then he had his brand of sumo. He's changing it now.
Right. Some people will do that.
Similar note to Ichi Yamamoto. We get a new flavor or something.
Right.
And we're like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Well, when you can throw off your opponents by pulling out something they don't expect from you, all the better for you.
Yeah. So, very optimistic. He's going to go up. He'll be going up to places where he sort of got knocked down before, but I want to see this grappling now. I want to see him grapple people who know to grapple, and then see him do some sort of a hinge pivot. You get it. Oshoma, kill him for me.
I get it.
I can't do words sometimes. It's a lot of talking. Anyway, so from a good 9 and 6 to another good 9 and 6. Hakuoho.
Encouraging.
So Oshoma and Hakuoho on day 1 have an absolute barn burner of a grapple match.
And it was sort of a moment to set the tone.
For both of them. For Oshoma, it's just like, I'm in here, I'm on the belt, I'm going to do really well. He loses his butt. Then he goes and gets a good 6-7 wins on the belt.
Right. It was a good opportunity to just get the nerves out trying it.
For Hakuoho, like you said, it's just like, here's how I'm going to fight the other 14 days. With grit and reflexes, good defense, good offense.
Power when you need it.
Hanging in there, deep water, don't care.
Yeah.
Let's win.
Yeah. It's nice because we've had such a big question mark on him as far as once he got the surgery, he was in jury a little bit longer than we expected. Now he's finally back. He's putting things together. It's more of a slow ascension because once again he had a pretty solid debut. I think he was 11-4 on his debut in the U-Show race. This is more realistic.
Another legendary belt fight with Onokatsu. Onokatsu had a good time of himself and is proving himself to be turning into a grapple master.
And he's in Onosato's? Is he in Onosato's stable?
Let's find out. Hello, Mr. 10 and 5 Onokatsu. Keep my eye on you. Onomatsu stable.
Oh, okay.
Him and a bunch of
nobody
unsalaried individuals.
I don't mean nobody in a disparaging way either. Just nobody we know.
Nobody we know. So Hakuoho, notes: if you beat him on the Tachiai, you have your best chance of beating him. 2 Henkas, 1 loss.
Yeah.
You can work on that. As we had mentioned before, Tamawashi cracks him. Kimbozan also cracks him. Strong head to keep fighting. So 4 of his losses were immediate.
Yeah.
So that is, he does need that Tachiai to go his way, or at least to go in a way that he can fight.
Right. It's like he's just so off guard
Yep,
if the
so-
Tachiai goes the wrong way. Hakuho should be able to...
These are workable fixes.
Yep.
And he's super young. He's learning, and similar to his current stablemate Takeru Fuji, a more stable build, I'll say. Not a breakout success, not the crazy nonsense that both of them were up to in their first time.
Well, it's interesting because they both wound up with 9 and 6s, and I believe they are training partners in that stable.
Oh yeah.
They're doing what the Waka brothers did. They're kind of coming up together.
Which is then going to be very fun when they change stables and immediately become rivals.
I know. It's so
hype.
Yeah.
So hype. There's a future.
There is.
There's a future.
There's so much fun in the future. Like, the things we talked about today might not mean anything in 5 years. It's such an ever-evolving situation.
It's going to be Goku Vegeta.
I know.
In 2 years. 2 short years.
We need Goku Vegeta everywhere. Different versions of it. It's the greatest rivalry of all time.
All right. So, good news for Endo. No ambulance that we know of.
Boy, it sure looked like he needed one.
His crashing out of the ring and slow to get up counter is at 8 for this tournament.
Yeah, it's
8.
It's kind of one of those things where even the commentators were like, "What's going on?" Yeah. There's no way they weren't talking to him outside of the ring, or once he got out of the shot of the cameras. Concussed for sure.
Oh, Kim Bozum knocked him out.
Yeah, he knocked him out, and like I said this on the live stream. Endo got knocked out by Hakuho on a Tachiai several years ago. Some people are concussion prone. I think Endo might be one. Because, yes, while he got hit on the jaw, which is the knockout spot, to get knocked out like that, either he's really unfortunately placing himself or he's prone to these concussions. He was dealing with a knee injury, and I do think he was getting up gingerly also to protect the knee. But I feel like he didn't know where he was half the time. It really looked like he was disoriented.
So his slow to get up having issues started on day 3. That was the first time. So then a week and a half, he's still fighting.
Punishing days for him.
All right. So this is a guy who would rather die than stop fighting.
Right. I don't even know what his motivations are. I know there are some, but I don't know what they are.
No, his motivations are, I'm going to keep fighting until they carry me out in a stretcher
Yeah.
or a body bag.
Yeah.
This is a level of devotion that is almost terrifying.
Right? Can you imagine if he wasn't all beat up?
Well, the Endo is the prodigy that never was.
Yeah.
And that this was before our time, but like he was the rising star when he came up.
He was going to be the guy.
He was going to be the guy. And then he gets a leg injury and it just never gets better.
Yeah, it looks like it was against Shoho's on ACL tear, I think.
So despite everything, he's battered. He's got busted knees. He's not seeing straight. He's not thinking straight. And
pretty sure he's 35.
Pretty sure he's up there too. Yeah. And through this whole thing, he's just like, nah, I'm a fight.
I know. There's been a lot of comments also about, like, these guys aren't as tough as the past guys.
BS.
Not true.
BS.
There's a number of guys in here who are fighting through serious injuries, and they never give up.
Yeah. There is a difference between being tough and making reckless decisions based on tradition.
Correct.
And I will say that the slow trend of, oh, maybe we should let this heal, oh, maybe sitting out and fixing this isn't a bad thing, like that coming in is a net positive.
Yes.
So you do have your Hoshoryu who says to Hoshoryu, oh no, I wouldn't have pulled out, I would have fought the Rit. But that's also the Hoshoryu who never becomes Yokozuna.
Exactly.
That's the Hoshoryu that aggravates the tear, falls back down in the Juryo, and can't fight nearly as well again.
I actually think it was Takayasu who started the trend, because his coach, it was his coach's idea, I think. When he got Ozeki and hurt his knee, and his coach was like, we're going to sit out that second tournament because you have a whole future ahead of you, and we're going to let you go into Ozeki Wake, and you're going to get your 10 wins. I think that extended Takakesho's career. And I think it showed some people, I'm sure it's not the only influence, but I think it was out there. It showed some people, like, it might be worth taking a risk to heal versus taking a risk to fight.
Him, Ura, Karuno Fuji.
Yep. These guys who came back, Tochinoshin. Right. Set the trend of, you know what, I'm going to let myself drop down to Division 5 and try this again. If I'm really that good, I will rise to the rank I need to rise to.
Hopefully, Asanoyama. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I believe. He won Jonidan.
Yeah, I'm going to say this about Asanoyama. It's worth believing in him, because what's the alternative? Takayasu, we could see how you'd be like, no, I can't believe. Asanoyama has such an uphill climb. He needs all the belief he can get. I'm giving it to him.
He gets mine.
Gets mine.
All right. So, anyway, Endo, please, for the love of God, get an ice pack or something.
Do something to heal.
Get a, I don't know, steam bath, mummify. You know, like you have in the cartoons, like they have like a body cast.
Yes.
Get in one of those for like 2 weeks. Just let it sit.
Don't do anything until you can at least stand up without collapsing. Ay. That was scary. I was like holding my breath every time he got up there, and then
I'm a little concerned for May.
Yeah, I don't know that we can expect him to even be together.
And
he should be getting his retirement papers in order. That's all I'm saying.
I hope he does.
When you're in this bad a shape, it's not worth it to keep going, I think.
This is
sumo, though.
This is sumo. Also, I mean, this is the fighter's mentality too. Like,
of
course. You'll know.
Yeah.
There is a, when you're professional fighters like this, there are some people with that mentality that's just like, I will rather die.
Right. They really feel that way.
Legitimately do not see an alternative.
The idea of being told you have to quit when you feel like you could still fight through the pain is unbearable for some.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are some people that, like, they know they can't do it.
They're gonna do it anyway.
They're gonna do it. They're like, you can't stop me.
Right. Like, get out of the way. I just didn't know that was Endo until now.
I feel like now that Endo knows the end is coming.
Right.
Like,
that's a part of it too.
There was a part, like, we talked about 9 to 5 Endo maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah.
That's what he was like. And that he was prolonging it.
Yeah.
So, like, he would fight up to a point and be like, I'm going to back it off. He had to pace himself. He's throttling himself. Now I think he knows.
Right. Now this is the last gasp. Let me put it all on the line.
So this is him saying, okay, this may be my last tournament. I'm going all out.
Yeah.
And then in May, it'll be like, this is all I got left. I think there was an interview with, like, in the sports circulations that they're talking about how Endo was 4-0, and he's sort of just like, don't talk to me about that. If I get through this tournament, it's a miracle.
Yeah. The fact that he would say that. I mean, he knows what kind of shape he's in.
So, bless your heart, Endo. Please live long enough for a track jacket.
Yeah.
Or a special prize.
Yeah. However it
Whatever
comes.
it is. I don't know.
You got sadness 2 in a row.
It's fine. We had our high. Now we have
It's time.
It's time. It's not all sunshine and roses. Nishikigi, 3-12.
It was going to happen eventually.
Well, this is the textbook fade. So he had his surge. He touched Kamasubi. A little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. We got to see that. We got to see him just no sell beating Terunofuji multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had our moments with him, and now Father Time is knocking on the door to like, time to go.
Yeah, he's like 37, I think, at this point.
Up there. 35.
Oh,
He's
okay.
Up there.
He's 35?
1990.
So we got a couple other guys who are 35
Yeah.
that don't seem as old as Nishikigi. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely the.
Our perceptions are totally off.
Well, and also you have people who retire at 28. You know, it's just
yeah.
It's how they weather the storm. But he is definitely.
It's coming down.
Yep. The power's still there, but like everything else is going.
Right, like you can't use the power if you can't even touch the guy.
Well, yeah, I mean it's like he'll hold, his defenses will be there. He's a big guy, but then people they move him. They just
kind of run a circle around him.
They just work it. Either they get an angle or they're like, well, he can't hold forever.
Right, he's going to tire out, and I'm not.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, I mean he wins against Shonan Umi.
Yeah, that was a non-match. He beat Shirakuna by just pressuring him. Poor Shirakuma.
Kim Bozan.
That was impressive. Well, that's Kim Bozan probably hating everything.
Yeah.
But so like he has his moments.
Yeah.
It's not a.
It's not many.
Not many. It's not a Teruchi Yoshi, but.
Oh, that guy.
Anyway, so this may be it for him, for us at least in the top division.
Maybe
he might retire. Now, maybe he bounces back from Juryu and you give him one more shot.
You never know.
I'm not holding my breath. I don't want to see him go, but
you're not gonna bet on this one.
Not gonna bet on this one. Sometimes you go.
Yeah.
Nishikigi, I hope I see you in May, and if I don't, thank you for everything.
Yeah, we'll give you a formal thank you if something happens.
All right, so Shonan no Umi, what is going on?
Now, I did hear from the 42 Opinion Sumo group that he has thyroid problems, which makes all the sense in the world to me why he would be like this. So if you can't get your thyroid regulated, that definitely saps your energy.
It's, weird because sometimes it works for him and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I've never been that impressed with his style of sumo.
His style of sumo was successful, impressive or not.
Right.
And so last tournament, he sort of woke up in the second half right here. So this here was him doing a style of sumo. And so when he does his style of sumo, he's 6-2. And so this first week, I see him just getting like flopped over and thrown around, completely
not resisting at all.
Off switch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll wait for week 2 before I'm worried. Does get 3 wins. And these 3 wins were him on his style of sumo, but it took him a long time to switch on.
Right. He really could just be tired.
So there is something wrong.
Yeah.
There's something holding him back. Now, thyroid issue makes all the sense. He did seem to have like a nerves of pressure issue, which if you have health issues, that is also a mental issue.
Right.
In terms of staying focused, because like, is my thyroid.
Am I going to hold up?
Am I going to hold up today? Am I going to be able to do what I want to do? Is my body going to let me?
It's not a great way to have to go into a fight for sure.
So if these health complications, which is very unfortunate to be held back that way.
Of all things, especially when you're relatively young, okay, so Tamawashi's finally in middle-aged territory. But minus him, you're still pretty young in your life when you are younger than 35. So to be going through health problems before 35 sucks.
It does suck. It sucks a lot.
Yeah, so if that's all in there, that's a part of which could affect his mental ability, but also his physical ability.
Yeah, I mean, in that context, then maybe him getting up to M7, M6 is the outlier.
Right.
And so the fact that he has been able to fight this well for this long is
might say something about how skilled he actually is.
So, if he fights this well permanently held back, then we're looking at Endo again. It's sort of like the fighter that never was, in which case then we just celebrate what he's able to bring us.
Right. But I think we still need time to figure out what his career will be.
He's barely going to scrape it in May, so we'll probably be able to see him again.
So you think he'll stay in the top division?
It's a big old mess. It's a mess in the...
yeah, we got to get further down to...
So we have this going on.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
We have this going on. We have this going on.
It's going to be some savers.
And right next to him is somebody a pace worse.
Yeah. He might be spared.
We will do the math. I'm actively not trying to do too much of the math.
Of course.
A lot of people are talking about the Banzuke because it's going to be so messed up. And I'm like, I can't, la, 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 la,
the
la.
Banzuke talk starts like the second the trophy is handed to.
It was going on like during day 15.
Yeah. It's become the show within the show.
Yeah. So I got to hide from it all. But anyway,
right.
Shonen and we unfortunate that it took him so long to wake up. He'll be with us in May, maybe, hopefully. Could be larger problems out of his control. So, anyway. Sadness over. Time for Midori Fuji. Kotozakura 4 times.
Yeah, I think he needs to just have that. Like, don't try to be a different guy. Do your thing, but have that in there.
I would say he gets 5, but he didn't quite get the swing down on Hoshoryu. But, it was 3/4 of the movements. But then it was just a regular throw out. It just
wasn't officially.
Yeah, well, it was on the you need to pull the guy, throw him, and then then you get then there's the top and the bottom hands come together over the shoulder. He didn't get that.
Yep.
He was just dragging the person out, and he didn't get the full shoulder grab.
The Kotozakura is very technical.
Yeah, there's multiple steps.
And to pull that off in a match that's going in blinding speed.
Yeah. So. Midori Fuji doing well. Back to the red belt.
I know his name means green, but I love the red belt.
The red belt. Well, the last time he tried the red belt energy, he was in a tailspin. It sort of helped and then it stopped helping. But this time he had it the whole 15. I feel like the red belt helped him.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have it next time around.
So fascinating. All of his wins on a grapple. On the inside and almost always against bigger people. And then the 2 times he fights smaller people, Toki Hayate and Hoshoryu. He bodies them. So
he showed them who's boss.
Not only showed them who's boss, but then showed everybody how strong he has to be to fight the way he does.
Right.
But you don't see it on him.
You can't, because when he's fighting these guys who are triple his size, you can only ever notice that he's a small guy.
Which is then hilarious when he fights jacked as hell Hoshoryu and he just ragdolls him.
Right, it's oh, you look strong. Not.
Yeah, he's like, you look strong. I am strong.
Right.
I mean, Hoshoryu also is strong, but that's besides the point. So Midori Fuji doing pretty well for himself. Very exciting. And good to know that he has stopped his downward trend.
Right, he's going to go back up again, thank goodness.
I think that the middle of the Banzuke is still his sweet spot these days.
Yeah.
But, when he's in his sweet spot, he fights like this.
Right, and it's best to just always propel yourself up, because when things get crazy this, you don't want to be having an opportunity to get dumped.
So, Midori Fuji, very nice. Good sumo. Exciting. 4 Kotozakura.
Yes.
Or 5. 4.5.
4.5. Yeah.
4.5.
Take it.
I'm taking it. Another very reassuring positive.
That's taken a long time to get to.
Meisei's finally figured something out. And this is another person who goes back to fundamentals on the belt. So
he had been relying on just, the Oshi for so long.
He was trying to do a lot of movement, a lot of out, getting on his bike and out working people. Mm-hmm. And that worked for him a few years ago when he was in Sakiwake, but that hasn't really been successful since.
Right, he's been around a long time now, and there's been a lot of new faces and new ways you have to...
I think I think he came to the grips with that he needed to evolve his game.
Yep.
And that some of his speed, he was blisteringly fast.
Yeah.
That wasn't really there anymore, or it's just his footwork couldn't keep up. Now he got in a bulldozer, and he just grappled people and he ran them out. very Takeru Fuji-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And it got him a 9-6, and it got him a 9-6 in a very decisive manner.
It's like, take this and run with it. Whatever you think worked the best, whatever feeling you had, like, this is the most success you had in quite some time.
And like also, even when Meisei was winning, because of his brand of sumo, things were closer or things were a little too chaotic. He's like, oh yeah, you won, but like you look at that 9-6, you're just like,
he won,
solid.
Yeah,
he got it. Last day against Chiyashoma fighting out of his mind, who is mathematically 9 ranks above him. Say what you want about everything else.
Right.
This is the reality of the situation. There's somebody 9 ranks above him that he gets on the final day, and he crushes it.
Mm-hmm.
This was somebody who's wily and lateral moving on the belt, and he does it to him.
Good for him for not ever giving up. You know what I mean?
He
kept working until he got here.
This is what Meisei fans like me and you have been wanting to see out of him.
Mm-hmm. Now we want to see him put it back to back.
As you always say, as I always say, you need a pattern. 2 tournaments is the pattern.
But this is the difference, because we've seen him have so many like 6-9 records, 7-8 records. Being the decisive winner matters. If you're always the one who's behind, trying to catch up.
It was nearly a year ago.
Yeah.
And then he'd been in that funk ever since. And if we go a little bit further, still.
Yeah.
So this is stemmed the bleeding, found something that worked, looked good doing it, blueprint for success.
Yep. Keep it up. Just stick with it.
Good to see Meisei back in some form.
Yes.
All right. So, everybody join me in bidding farewell to Takara Fuji.
He's going back down again, baby.
I am hoping against hope that he bobbers right back out of Juryo. This was a rough 3-12.
Yeah. This was not hard fought matches.
This is not like, yeah.
He was feeling it. Whatever, fatigue or injury, he was feeling it.
What sort of hit me a little too close to home on this one. There are 2 matches that I call passing of the baton matches, in which 2 people beat him in his style. And that is when he fought Shirokuma and Onokatsu. But in a way, there was sort of like this changing of the guard. Mm-hmm. It felt like in the moment, it felt like it's like like his brand of sumo will live on in the future.
Right.
It has been inherited.
Right. It will not die with him.
I know, and then I was like, but I don't want him to die. But he's 3-12 at M12.
Now he's older than 35.
Yeah, he is.
He's up there.
We were talking about him and Terunofuji retiring at the same time. Yeah, there you go. He's older than I am. Holy crap. Whew.
There you go.
37, 38.
Yeah, I mean, that's up there.
God bless. Well.
So, I mean, eventually you run out of steam. And maybe it's not this time. Maybe he will bounce back up from Juryo, but one of these times he's not going to.
Yeah. So, there's 2 things. One, how fired up he was the last time he got kicked into Juryo.
Yes, he was very disgusted.
And when he fought against Onosato, it was a fairly spirited match. That was the one that was wild and flaily. Takara Fuji does the 360 spin, and then him and Onosato look at each other, and they remember they're in a sumo fight, and they go back at it again. He then gets driven out, but
at least there was something.
That isn't the kind of thing like Nishikigi. That is the long, slow goodbye.
Right.
That is the slow fade. A couple moments of brilliance, but like for Takara Fuji, like if you gave him the chance, he was in the fight.
Right, he's still got enough energy that maybe he can, proceed on, but it's getting dicey.
So
38 years old. I mean, if he does pull it off, I think we got to put him in a Tamawashi category.
If he comes back,
yeah.
If he comes back, which. You'd like to think he'd thrash the people in Juryo. They're not going to be able to handle him.
Right. But
The
it
hope.
depends on
It is-
what's going on with him.
It's up to luck now.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to the hand of fate. It's
Yes.
beyond our ability to manipulate.
That's right.
But as I was saying before, his brand of sumo has been inherited to his fellow Megashira 12, Onokatsu, who continues to improve every single tournament.
Yeah, this 10-5 sort of snuck up on me. I was like, wow, he's really putting it together.
So we were talking, there are a few things that we were talking about that it's also true for him. So day one, Crane lifts Nishiki Fuji, which inheriting a little bit of Tochinoshin. We were talking about how good Meisei is, but Onokatsu just absorbed all of Meisei's power and then reversed him out, which was impressive because of how well he did it. So we were talking about Itami Fuji's crazy arm clamp. Onokatsu survives the arm clamp and wins anyway.
Yep.
Finds the way inside, forces his way
Yeah,
in.
he really pushed himself in.
So, like, the arm clamps are going in. He's just like, okay, I guess we're arm clamps. And then he just reaches. He pulls himself further into it to get the win. That's through the pain and the panic.
Right. It's like, no, I'm not going to let you take this match. Like, I'm going to find a way to take it over.
Yeah. And this is some good stuff. There's still some rough edges. He's still working on it.
Very new.
Still new. But like it's like you want to see somebody who's under the radar but doing really well.
Yeah. Especially when we put up numbers like that and everyone's looking somewhere else.
Yeah, Onokatsu's not some fabled heir to a sumo dynasty. He's not breaking records and how fast he's coming in.
He's just doing his job.
He's doing his job and he's doing it well.
Yeah. He's going to sneak up on some of these guys.
He's gonna be a menace. There will just be a time that we'll talk about him about just Onokatsu, Sanyaku.
Remember he just like kind of showed up?
Just showed up and wrecked it. He's gonna be in the picture. Keep working.
Yeah.
Don't stop it.
Yeah, don't get too hype.
Don't listen to 42 opinions and think your work's done.
No. Just keep working. Turn that 10-5 into a 12-3.
Yeah. Well-known fact that everybody in Sumo Association listens to our show.
They do. And they call us up and they're like, hey, we need a couple notes on our match. You guys are good at this.
Goodness.
I hope they would never listen to the show.
They're
like, is this what Americans think?
I am waiting for that. This is my dream. I don't pay too much attention to like popularity or something like that. I just want that Google translated email from some guy in Jonokuchi who's just like, I saw your show. Meisei is my stablemate. I can't believe you said those things about him. I'm gonna find you.
You're like, I'm being threatened. It's awesome.
Being threatened from Japan, Maria. Did you read it?
Awesome. Let's frame it. That'd be our claim to fame forever.
That's the peak for me. I don't know. Keep your goals manageable, maybe.
I know, right? Even that's a bridge too far.
On a related note, thank you for helping us break 600 watchers. We do appreciate all of you. We're just being silly.
Yes, I don't even know where we're at now. I think 667.
Oh, we passed the demon number.
Yeah.
Oh.
For a while we were on 666, and I was feeling a little unnerved. I'm like, can somebody else subscribe? I'm like, good. 666.
Throw some salt on the computer.
But you know what's weird is you drop and gain subscribers all the time by like 1 or 2.
Ah.
So it might go back to 666 again unless we gain at least. Can we get 10 subscribers off this video? I think it's going to be 3 hours. I think we deserve 10 subscribers. We'll see. We haven't checked the time yet.
Well done, Onokatsu. Thank you, everybody, for listening, as always. So.
That's the plug.
Sad face. Nishiki Fuji.
Finally can't overcome.
Oh, what sucks is we were coming into March. He had
a good January.
He had a good January. Things were piecing together. We're like, oh man, we've got our tiny Teruno Fuji back. And then day 2, he's just like, sorry.
It really stinks when injuries ruin a career.
So
really stinks.
He is deep into Juryo on this one. So if he fights the way he was fighting in January, there was no way in hell that Juryo's going to hold him back.
Right, he'll be back.
He'll be back to us. But that's if he comes back.
John, you're totally wrong. Nishiki Fuji's gonna hold with a.
Oh my God! I didn't even think of
Could
that.
you imagine?
I didn't even think of that.
They're like, oh, we're gonna hold him at.
Yeah, that's right. Let's kick Shirokuma and we'll kick Mitakeumi, but we'll give him at 18.
Could you imagine?
I'm imagining it now. I didn't even not even cross my mind, but now that you're saying it, it has to be true.
If it happens, oh man, people are gonna be fired up.
All right. I'm breaking my rule. There's one thing for Guest of the Banzuke I've figured out so far.
They're all gonna yell at you if you put him there.
I'm gonna put him there, and everyone's gonna yell at me. I'll be like, okay, but hear me out.
Listen, weren't we 11-4 last time or something? That's because of them, though, not because of us.
It'll be a good bet. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, Nishikuji, I'm also looking forward to you getting healthy and getting a Juryo Cup and coming back. So don't take too long, okay?
Yeah, seriously.
Don't take too long. Alrighty, so
man, there's just so many people on here that are just nuts.
It is time for the mystical creature, the anti-Ura.
The most awkward man in sumo.
He's tall, he's awkward and rigid, and no one understands him. Then you have Ura, who is small and athletic and in control of everything, and nobody understands him either. Apparently,
Shishi still doesn't speak very good Japanese, so he might not even understand his coach either.
Yeah. So first off, he comes to us first in November as a touted prospect and is lashed out of the division.
Yes.
He is awkward. He has some good moments, but is flaily and exploited, and we're like, well, this was a fun little joke we all had for ourselves, and we expect we're not going to see Shishi for another year and a half if he ever comes back at all. January, he goes down and wins the Juryo Yusho. Odd, we thought at the time. Apparently, at some point in between November and January, he found a hyperbolic time chamber.
That makes sense.
And trained the hell out of everything.
That actually makes more sense.
And this might have been the hyperbolic time chamber that was like the space capsule, because he went into outer space and he learned some strange tachiais.
Got some
while in orbit around a foreign planet.
Yes. Then he came back.
Yes.
And decides. I mean, even though he was 9-6 and he earned that, his sumo was still very awkward. There is a weird haha, belt work doesn't matter, just throw him. Kind of sumo technique doesn't exist kind of sumo coming from him. Yeah, he's, like you said, anti-sumo.
Anti-Ura, just, you're like, he would win, and you're just like, what?
The power is in the claw.
Yeah.
He found a way to take Ryuden's jockey tachiai and turn it into something so weird that I had to look away every tachiai he was in.
You could tell that people were like starting to yell at him because he would do it and then he'd force himself not to, and or then, he would do like the one-handed claw.
The one-handed was really coming out the last couple of days. I'm like, look at him, he can't stop. I'm paying attention to everything but his sumo. The big thing that he has going for him is, despite the weird awkwardness, an absolutely impenetrable, stable base, like a Kotozakura kind of stability. Well, he's a strong, solid guy.
He's strong. He was able to get low enough.
That was one of the improvements he made.
And then from there, he just flailed. He just grabbed people and threw them, and the technique was wrong, but he threw them anyway. He would just crack people across the face because his body was so misproportioned, people couldn't handle it.
Here's the funny part.
What's the funny part?
He's going to get a promotion from this.
Yes.
And every time he gets a promotion, he has to fight harder and harder people, and the matches are going to get wilder and wilder. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know where this train stops.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Again, there will be grand analysts who will be driven to madness trying to figure this out.
Like, how does it work?
People
said that about Tobizaru. Tobizaru was far more fundamental than Shishi.
Tobizaru built from a strong base. Shishi just built from being large man.
Pretty much. He's the giant, you know, the giant who lurks around and knows how to step on people.
If we ever do a remake of The Princess Bride,
Shishi
is Andre the Giant.
Somebody get on the line and do this.
I can already hear him saying, "Anybody want a peanut?"
Yeah, I know. Couldn't anybody picture him saying that?
My goodness.
It's in your dreams, though.
Well, regardless of what happened or how it happened, well done, Shishi. And as Maria said, he's going to be fighting higher competition, so he will be confusing even more elite people now.
Yeah, everyone's gonna kind of look at him like,
Yeah. And the scary thing again is the level of crazy change from November to March.
Strange, very strange.
So like, if he really is,
Was he just pretending in November? I mean,
I think he goes up into that hyperbolic time chamber on the mothership, and he just goes nuts for a month and a half.
It's literally the only thing that makes sense.
And then he comes back.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, "Oh wow, I just had 6 months of training on all of you."
Right. And that's why I can do these things, even though I am still the most awkward man in sumo.
Like he can come back in May and have the crispest belt work you've ever seen. I'll be like,
then we're like, okay, something really weird is going on. Could you imagine though if he like comes back even more improved?
Well, like it will simultaneously be baffling and make perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, you know what? None of this makes sense. So
we now really believe that all the things they put in anime are true.
I don't know
They
how
really
else
exist.
to put it. There's no other explanation I could think of outside of him having supernatural, time-bending alien friends who help him train in sumo.
Yeah. It's the only thing that makes sense.
In about 10 to 15 years after he retires, we'll get the tell-all documentary.
Yep.
And
Then we'll learn the secrets to the universe at that
have
point.
to wait that long.
I know, right? We'll be old in 10 to 15 years.
Shishi, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
The Enigma.
The Enigma.
So, right, back to normal people.
Right.
Bless you, Shishi, though. All right, focus up. We're a serious show. No, we're not.
No.
Ryuden. By the skin of his teeth will he stay in the top division, but he is also starting to lose it.
Yeah, but you know, he's interesting because he's had this up and down career since COVID started. You know, so he was starting to come back a little bit, but it's like not right back to the, you know, Juryo man you're going to be if you're not careful.
So his last day win against Oshoma was definitely a man possessed. He knew that if
he didn't want to drop down.
He lost that match, he's in Juryo.
Yep.
He's just like, no, damn it, I don't wanna.
And you're not coming back.
But a lot of his losses. So Ryuden had the base and the defensive skills that there were people that couldn't move him.
Right.
They couldn't do anything to him, and then Ryuden would eventually win.
Right.
And then he had that gas tank. People were starting to move him. And he no longer had defenses from grappling and positioning. His defense now was being big.
Yep.
More people can deal with that.
Yep.
And that was his biggest problem. And so we'll talk about Kotoshoho, but he beats Ryuden on the belt, which for me was a big point.
Red flags everywhere.
Really good for Kotoshoho, but for Ryuden, it took Kotoshoho a little while to get in there. Mm-hmm. And Ryuden didn't do a damn thing.
Right. Normally he wouldn't allow it.
Ryuden from 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
a year ago, would be like, "Oh, we're playing my game? Well, I've got my bear traps on you.
Right.
Guess you're going to lose now." So
It's been coming.
yeah, Ryuden's fighting his age,
Yep.
and he's
Some guys just are not the immortal one.
Well, there's only one of those.
Yeah.
I feel the more normal aging happens, the more the immortal one stays special. So
Yep.
I'm fine with him hogging the fountain of youth.
It really will only ever be him.
Yeah. So we'll get Ryuden in May, and it'll be do or die for him. And if he fights the way he did in March, then that'll be the last we see of him, probably. It's unfortunate, but
Like you said, father time.
Father time, knocking on doors.
Yep.
That's what you can do. So anyway, back on our roller coaster of sheer bliss, Chiranaumi, 11-4.
Didn't think that was gonna happen.
So he had his shoot up that he shows up and he's doing well. He's M4. And like he's doing well. M4 hit the 4 and 11. Him and Oshoma, they were lockstep.
Yep.
And so then he goes down to make a sure 9. We're just like, okay, he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna rebuild. He gets another 4 and 11. We're like, oh crap.
Yeah, something's
Fell out. And so at that point, then we're thinking, oh, he had his moment, and then reality kicked in.
Because he is older.
He's older. He's 31, 32. He's a new old guy. 32.
Yeah, 32. I mean, that's not usually when you start having a resurgence.
So, and then what happens is there's a singularity loop, and then he fights the same, like the best version of Chiro no Umi. Like he fights the way he did when he came in.
Yep.
But with a lot more success and a lot more power.
And fighting much tougher guys.
Yeah, so whatever demons he had, he's banished them.
If he doesn't lose that match to Shishi's 12-3.
Yeah.
I mean, how weird is that?
Yeah, and if you look
you can almost like lose the perspective there.
He was chasing it down. And the loss to Takerufuji was also Takerufuji just hit him like man possessed.
Right. What are you gonna do? Like sometimes sometimes that dude is gonna catch you.
Yep.
With that Tachi.
So Abi also gets him, but at that point, like they threw an M14 at a Kamasubi. Like that's how good he was doing.
Yep.
And he does get these last 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
You show leader. Say what you want about his nerves. Takayasu.
Day 14 and day 15.
Very good. And then on the last day,
he took advantage of Daisho, who was, probably starting to lose a little bit of steam.
Yeah, lost focus, had his lapse. So,
but still, doesn't matter.
Special prize, kicking ass. Love to see it.
Great day for him.
Beautiful sumo. It's just fascinating because no matter, like, you knock him back, you grab him back, he's just like, back in I go. Back in. Nope. Yep. There's only one way out, and it's through you. Mm-hmm. He's so good at that, and
it's very exciting for the people who've been rooting for him for a long time.
Yes, that too.
To get the payoff.
He's been slumming it, and now everyone gets to see what was so good about him. Mm-hmm. This is like one of his best tournaments.
Yeah, I think this is his best tournament.
Mathematically, I think it is. Well, at least in the top division.
But even like the quality, the quality of people he fought, like this was his best tournament. It'll be interesting because he will shoot up there.
He'll shoot up, and then he'll sort of be in the same problem that we had before. So
he should get another 4-11 unless something's changed.
We'll see. It'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'll say cautious optimism for that. I would expect the 4-11, and then if it's
anything better than that.
If it's a 6-9, well, that's a net win.
Yeah.
So another 11-4, one off the pace. Imagine what would happen if he didn't lose to Asakuryu, kind of a thing. Ao Nishiki, the fabled newest, latest, hot, cool thing.
That I was like reluctant to throw anything behind because I'm like, we've always have the new hotness. This guy, like Onosato, hasn't been around that long. I think he's going to struggle in the top division. And in the first 2 days, that seemed to be true. Then he wins a couple. Then, what day was it? Doing great. I'm like, okay, he's obviously awesome. When he gets bullied by Daisho, I thought to myself, okay, this shows you, like, the new kid.
So nervous.
Right. The new kid, he can't handle the hype, and then he wins on the last 2 days. I was shocked. Yeah.
Visions of the future.
Yep.
If he can beat these 2 guys now, in the way he did.
First tournament. I mean, he came into that tournament saying, I want double digits and a special prize. And he did it.
It was a called shot.
And this is another thing I wanted to speak about with the whole culture thing. The Japanese don't do that. Ao Nishiki, I was pretty brave of him to be like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And he had the determination to do it, and he believes in his skill. And
yeah, his skill is really good, though. He's a low fighter.
Yep.
Which it's hard to get that low.
Right.
And then keep your power. And he knows when to push and when to go for the belt. And he swaps between the two.
The sumo sense, like, he was having a little trouble getting his bearings, but once he got them, it's like he was almost unstoppable. Now, I want to see him fight the big guys. I think things will go the other way for him, but he was very impressive.
Yeah, most of these people were the people he came up with, but, gets one on Kotoshoho, gets one on Meisei, and then, as we said, Takeru Fuji, Oho. The Mitakeumi one still counts for what it's worth. So,
just interesting, though, if he doesn't lose to, Asakura, like you said, 12 and 3.
These opening 5 days were him
trying to figure it out.
Dealing with the nerves.
Yeah.
And then he settles in, and off he goes.
It's a mark of a really good fighter, someone who can settle in like that. Like, that's one of those things you look for when you're looking for, like, great fighters. Someone who can turn the whole thing around.
Somebody in the middle of it is like, okay, reset. We understand what's going on. Let's just get back to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future with him.
I am too, and I think it's going to be a pretty bright one.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all these veterans. They're doing crazy. All these veterans are fading out, and we're going to say goodbye, and we're sad. And then we have Sada Naomi, who is fighting exactly like a veteran.
Right. And gets his 8 and 7.
He is now the textbook veteran. He's just like, he's in the veteran area. He's doing all right.
He's up there. He's 37 or 38.
Yeah, he's an old one.
He's not a 35-year-old.
87.
Yep.
Him and Takara Fuji.
So he just turned 38. Right?
May. He will be 38 when the next Basho hits.
Oh, that's his May. I'm thinking May, even though we're talking about March. Okay.
We'll be in May soon enough.
Soon enough.
So, he is like the proof. He's like, all right, I'm down here, but I got to keep fighting.
Yep.
And he's back from Juryo. Now, he had the 9 and 6, so we weren't quite sure, but I think with that.
Solid.
You're not making waves. You're still slightly at risk, but still doing pretty well.
Anytime you can pull yourself out of the bottom, it's better.
Also, fighting with a will to win. He does a sort of Hoshoryu-esque leg trip win against Shirokuma, who doesn't understand where it's going and hits the deck pretty hard,
hilarious to see a veteran pull something like that.
Wins on sort of his textbook grappling, and basically he gives it as good as he gets it. And
Sadanoumi
style. And there's enough flounderers around him, I guess.
Yeah.
Which we'll be talking about shortly.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah. So well done, Sada Umi. Good to see you at least around for May.
Yeah.
This one does suck.
He fought so hard.
Asakura was fun.
He is. I really enjoyed him this tournament. He's
dynamic. He's got good fun.
Lots of spirit and fieriness.
Jumpy. And he also pulls a lot.
Well, that's the thing, right? You can get away with that in Juryo, but once you come up to the top division, it will be exploited. And he learns this. Because he's going right back down. There's no question about that. Although if he was Nishiki Fuji, he would be staying.
Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pulls. One of them successful. Does have the small man sumo issue.
Right, he's already disadvantaged.
Ironically, one of the biggest small man sumo losses he had was against Midori Fuji.
Right, the only guy who is his size.
And he just gets shocked. But he might stay.
He might
stay, but try as he might, he just can't get that to stick by his own self, which is.
Right, he needs the assistance of others failing.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but you don't want to rely on the luck. You want to create your own luck.
Right, so hopefully...
get fusens like Konoyama.
Right, exactly. But, I mean, hopefully, he will improve again. He should go hang out with Shishi.
Yeah. Yeah, man, his power, he just... Coiled spring. It's so good to watch.
I knew when I first saw him that I was interested, but he really couldn't get anything going. This time he got things going.
That is the difference. That's a good point. In November, like he was running around, there's a lot of power. You're just like, there's nothing to this guy. Working. Now in this one, it's like, ooh, it's It's connecting. It's
right. So there's a chance that he'll put something together.
There's a chance he's a skin of his teeth guy.
Yeah, and that might be his whole career. Yeah.
We'll have to wait for the Banzuke to come out to know for sure.
Yeah.
But hopefully, optimistically, he's young, he's dynamic, he's improving. So even if he falls out, he'll come back again.
Right.
Just got to be a little bit more patient than I want to be. It's like that sometimes. Koto Shoho. Back to his 8-7 through a mountain of work.
Boy.
So, we keep talking about people who's pushing, thrusting, Oshi Sumo is failing, they go to the belt. Enter Koto Shoho, who fought a lot more like Kotozakura than Koto Shoho this tournament. Mm-hmm. And it worked.
I mean, it's a smart move to copy the guy close to the top.
So he still had his violence. Him and Shurnaumi beat the stuffing out of each other. God bless. I need those.
Got to get those matches once in a while.
Yeah. When he fought Takara Fuji, he just smacked him until he decided to leave.
He's like, this isn't worth it.
But yeah, this grapple Koto Shoho, this is another guy who, sort of like Meisei, had a brand of sumo that was failing him.
And it was time to adjust.
And he couldn't figure out how to advance it. Like his Berserker Viking sumo, like it was fun, it was interesting. He was making these slow gains, then everything falls apart. Now he changed his tact. Now he was on the inside for 6 of his 8 wins were either grappling or an inside drive, rather than the push sumo.
Right.
Now he had done transitions to the belt in the past, but
not consistently.
It was reactive.
Yes.
It was, I was breached, so I need to do defensive belt work. Or I'm going to go on the belt as like a surprise, like the Hokutofuji belt grab. It's just like, they're not going to expect this.
Right.
So, also the old Ichiyamamoto belt grabs. It would be a gambit.
Right.
For him, he was initiating on the belt. He was driving.
It was
going
planned.
Inside as a plan, as an attack. And it worked.
Yeah.
At least enough to get the Kachikoshi.
Which, I mean, he's been struggling even to do that. So
yeah,
that's a step in the right direction.
I mean, 2 steps back is still an 8-7. He's not the dynamic wins we're hoping for, but he was crashing out. So this stops it.
All you need is an 8-7.
Sometimes all you just need is to stop the bleeding.
Yep.
And you get more time to work on it.
Exactly.
And it'd be interesting to see a guy who becomes grappling, but then if you hit him in the face, it's like,
let's do this.
Let's do this.
Yeah, that would be very exciting.
I
like the guys that can do both.
It's fun when you can do both. It's also it's the double threat. This is sort of,
you can try things on me, but you don't know what I'm going to counter with.
Yeah. Daisho had a moment that he grabbed the belt randomly this tournament, and I looked at it. I'm like, it had no chance of working. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, he's planting the seed.
Right.
He didn't do it again, but it's that thought.
Make somebody a little nervous that they might grab the belt.
Yeah, like if you put it in their head.
Yep, it's
just like, I'm not Oshi. I can go either way.
Mind games are a big part of the whole process too.
All right. So, Takayumi, 6-9.
We talked about this before the tournament.
We were afraid this was going to happen, and it happened. He ran out on day 7. Because right here, he is 4-2. Looking okay. Not great. Starting day 7, no energy. And then his final 2 wins are against people with less energy.
Right. It's just some people were actually saying they thought he might retire.
That's been the thing. My glimmer of hope. So we had our loner from Juryo, Kaio.
Yep.
This was the weird, I'm gonna chase you around the dojo
There was so much of that.
There's a bit of that. But like they do a full 360 run around it, and then he finally gets him out. So there's at least some fight.
Right. He didn't like give, and he didn't do a 3-12. You know.
He didn't do a 3-12, and so I'm looking at this now. I think Kaio's coming up, so we're gonna see him. But like when a Juryo guy comes up and they just get run out of town, like that's the Juryo can't hold me feeling.
Right.
That like I get for Nishiki Fuji.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna. I don't know. Has Mitakeyumi even been in Juryo in a long time? I don't ever remember him being in Juryo.
In a long time. Long.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, he was Sekiwake Lord. He was the Daisho.
Yeah.
It was Mitakeyumi West.
Like unheard of.
And yeah, man, let's see. Yeah.
Look at all these accolades.
Yeah.
He was Hiro's favorite sumo wrestler.
2015. 10
Wow.
years ago.
Wow, this is going to be painful for him. He's either going to be like, no way, and retire, or he is going to be like, ugh, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, and then he hung out. Look how long he was in Sanyaku. Look at this stretch. People who don't know.
Right.
People
This
don't
guy
know.
was elite at one point.
So 2017, Sanyaku. They cannot. Everyone's crashing and burning around him. He's a Sekiwake Kamusubi. Dips out a little bit, and then back in, and then back in, and then back in, and then back in, and then he lucks his way into. No, that's bad. That's bad manners. He gets Ozeki. I think this was around the time in the show that we were talking about how the only way that Mitakeyumi was going to get Ozeki
is if everybody fell out.
is that there were no more Ozeki because everybody fell out or retired, and then somebody has to be Ozeki and you get a field promotion.
And that didn't happen, but kind of happened. Like, I think Takayasu was the only one
Yeah.
at the time, right?
I think so. It was indirect, but basically what happened then is that he showed up and then he got it. And then he lost. And now this is Mitakeyumi that we know and love.
Poor Mitakeyumi.
All right. I'm doing this trip down memory lane because
This could be it.
this could be it. It's possible that he decides he doesn't want to be in Juryo, or it could be that he just rides that paycheck out for as long as they keep writing him.
Yeah. Depends on what's in his heart.
Depends what's in his heart. I mean, I think Tochinoshin did the fade until I'm out of Juryo.
Yeah.
So that's a path that Ozeki people could take.
Yep. So we'll have to see. I mean, if he starts getting crushed in Juryo, what's the point?
Be bad. But in any case, Mitakeyumi, we jape.
Glad to have known you.
Glad to have known you. Definitely a strong sumo personality. Great at it. Had a rivalry with Takayasu.
That was so frustrating, but awesome at the same time.
3 U shows for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
Yeah.
He was a good one. Maybe we'll see him again. We'll
Maybe.
see. Some of we're gonna be see again, but a little later.
Yeah.
Shiro Kuma. So good news. Last time he was up, he was 4-11.
So he improved by 1.
Improving a little bit. Yeah, he's a slow-paced guy, and he doesn't have the defenses to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
People can move him around. People can dictate pace. He felt like there was a little less nerves, and again, he got more wins. These wins were a little more decisive.
But man, he beat Kageyaki, Ryuden, Takada Fuji, Asakuryu, and Shodai. Nothing impressive on that list.
Not a convincing list. I mean, maybe if it was a good day Shodai, it'd be impressive. But yeah, I mean that's a list of people that you better be beating if you want to be in the top division.
Right, like at least you can say that you've done something. That's about it.
He'll be definitely back down. Like if he got like a 7 and 8, maybe you get a puncher's chance. But double-digit losses this far down, you're toast. Especially
when you have precedence for doing exactly that.
Yeah, I like his belt work. He's able to use his power well. It's just the initiative's not there yet.
Yeah,
he needs time.
Yeah,
put him back in the oven.
Right. He needs 30 more minutes.
30 more minutes. Sorry. You did the toothpick poke and it didn't work.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let's end the Banzuke on a really, really unexpected, really good note. Toki Hayate.
Haven't had a Maegashira 18 in a few years, and Toki Hayate comes in and does something very impressive.
So yeah, he stays on the top division in March because Terunofuji retired, and they basically gave him the newly created Mega Share 18 spot.
And he rewarded them.
And he was 10-4 going into the last day. And they gave him Kirishima. They're like, show us what you mean.
Right.
Kind of jerks. But
if you beat Kirishima, then
if you beat Kirishima, there was a statistical chance he'd be in the Yusho playoff.
Yeah. Crazy.
And this is a guy who was getting bullied and thrown around and
neutralized.
Couldn't get anything done. So 4 of these wins, he beats Fujiseun, who's on loan, and Tamashoho, who's on loan, and then also beats Asakuryu, and also beats Shirokuma, who we just mentioned having their issues. So has some wins, but then has Tamawashi, has Meisei, Shinanaumi and Ryuden. Say what you want about them. So Shiranaumi,
he beat some important guys.
So some of the wins are gimmies, but then the difference between his 6 and 9s and the 10 and 5s is him converting over some of these upper division people.
Should be interesting though, like once he gets promoted, because it's like, I don't know that he can do that again, but we really don't know.
His power is sort of like he's like a tiny Ryuden. He's got really good grip strength. It was noticeable when he was fighting Churnaumi, because Churnaumi was trying like hell to shake him off, and it was that pit bull grab.
Right, you're not gonna do it.
It's like he bit in, he's not letting go, and that was the foundation for his grappling. He stuck to people, he contained people. Meisei tried to throw him out, and he's just like, nah, you're right here.
Yep.
And so, like, whatever that was, it finally all clicked for him.
And hopefully, we can establish a pattern, because it was a good tournament for the small guys.
It sure was.
It'd be interesting for them to be able to fight people their own size,
Well, for Toki Hayate, he's going to get a buffer.
Yep.
He's going to fight some more impressive people. Which
will show us what he's really capable of.
He's going to, It's also going to be a healthy step up, because, like I had said, he's had a few gimmies, but now he's beaten enough of the people above him to prove that he can hang in there.
Right.
Future's looking good for Toki Hayate.
Yeah. Which is a nice way to end the Banzuke.
Future's looking good for Sumo too.
Yes.
Despite what people say.
Yes. Enjoy the positives, people.
So, I'm going to try this one more time, and if it doesn't work, we're going to go over to Sumo DB.
All right, let's see if they fixed the bug.
Oh, before I do that, special prizes. Fighting Spirit goes to Churanaumi and Aonishiki.
Well deserved.
Yeah, I think Aonishiki won his unconditionally. Churanaumi had to earn it, and he did against Daisho.
Definitely earned it.
Well done. Technique prize goes to Takayasu.
The saddest technique prize of all time.
Oh, they had to give him something, I guess.
At least he gets money.
Yeah. That is a nice
take
pile.
the money.
They fixed it.
Wow, just in time. That's awesome.
Yeah. When we were prepping up for the stream, it was showing the January Banzuke, which was not helpful.
It's like, we can't really work with that.
Sadanomi was on right here, and I'm like, he's not. He's on our 42 opinions list. He's not Juryo. All right, so, we have 4 people guaranteed to come up. We have Tamashoho on an 8 and 7 and Juryo 1. Welcome to the big leagues. Welcome back. Kaio, he's a big guy. We saw him. Takimi ran him around. 9 and 6. He's up. Our friend Roga has his.
Good to see.
He fixed his knee, so he kicked ass, which is what we expected. Welcome up. And we have Tochik Taikai,
which he's not on my radar at all.
No, he was a guy in Juryo kicking around. I don't know for how long.
Okay.
Let's click him. So these 4 guys, they're in, and there's enough bodies up top to
for
fill the
sure.
space. 22.
Okay.
No, I can't do math. 26.
Oh, okay. So he's one of those older Juryo guys.
So we'll see. We'll see what his brain to sumo is. So where things will get a little blurry for a while, Kusano
He was one win away from them.
People were throwing around the idea that if he got a Zenso Yusho, they would just promote him to the top division.
They were throwing that around.
I don't know if that was a joke or not, but also we won't know because he loses to Kaio, so it's a 14-1.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's going to put him like here.
Mm-hmm.
So
and if he's that good, he'll be in the top division the next tournament.
He'll be with us in July. So it's just a normal meteoric rise, not one with
insanity.
Yeah.
He did set a record.
Yeah, most consecutive wins
And a debut. Yeah. So that's exciting. He's going to fight all the same guys again.
Yeah, he's going to thrash. So
except he won't be fighting Roga because Roga will be gone.
So where the maybe comes in is Fujiseun. 9-6 at Juryo 5. They promoted Shirokuma on this.
Okay.
But Fujiseun has two problems. One, he loses to Kusano on the last day. If he beats him, that's a pretty nice tell.
Yep.
Also, as I had mentioned before, when he goes up to the top division, he loses. Who did he fight? Well, he goes up to the top division and he loses that fight. Wherever the Takahayate, there it is. So if he beats somebody in the top division, well, first off, that makes it a 10-5, which is easier math. But then also you get to say, I beat someone in the top division, let me up, or I beat the Yusho winner, let me up.
Right.
Neither of those happened, so it's a maybe. There's also Hideno Umi at 10-5 at Juryo 6.
Yeah, a long time since he was up.
It's been a while since he's been up. Mathematically, neither of these guys are, but there's a lot of people with a downward trend going on in the top division. So
it'd really be more on the mercy of what happened in the other division.
So if we go back up, and then we do some counting. So Shirokuma, you're gone. That's 1. Takayumi, you're gone. That's 2. Asakuryu, on the fence. He's somebody maybe Fujiseun gets in instead. Nishiki Fuji, you're gone. 3.
Mm-hmm.
Takara Fuji, you're gone. 4. Nishikigi, 5.
Yeah.
Shonan Umi, 6.
Right. Depends on their mood.
So if they want to, they have been doing high volume demotion promotions.
They have.
As of late. 4, 5, 6 people. Well, actually 5, 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, you'd have 4, 3, 2, just because there wasn't a lot of churn. So if they may look at Fujiseun and they may say close enough, and then they go to Nishikigi and they're like, nice 3 and 12 you got there. Pity if somebody were to push you into Juryo.
They could.
This is what we get to worry about during guest abouts. Okay.
And maybe we even get some retirements.
Now, if that happens,
that messes everything up. Yeah.
Makes a lot of.
But that could happen.
Oh, I suppose we could talk about one last thing in Juryo.
Likely retirement.
My heart.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's not staying. He left on the last day. He's just like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
When you leave on the last day, that's a sign that you're probably retiring.
Rough times.
Yeah.
But
hey, he outlasted Takayasu.
He outlasted Takayasu. Now we get to see him in track checking.
Exactly. Might see him more.
Might see him.
So.
And then if it's anything like Takayasu, who'll lose 50 pounds, he'll look 5 years younger, and he'll be laughing all the time. So
he will need some hair plugs, though. He has lost a lot of hair.
You think he would shave it?
Oh yeah, bald.
He could do the Kotozakura thing.
Yeah, actually.
Have you ever seen Kotozakura? Like, if you don't know it's him,
you don't know it's him.
You don't.
I think he should do that. Actually, shave the hair, get some glasses. He'll look cool. Ah, what a tournament!
That was March. That was a whole lot of March.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was all you ever dreamed. Hope you come back and listen to us again after the rant. Might see you back, might not. If you even lasted this long. But anyway, thank you all for coming, listening, commenting, liking, subscribing, all those things, and coming to our live streams. Can't do the show without you.
Make it all worth it.
Yes. This is 42 Opinions, signing off.
Thank you for listening.